Hello everybody, both on YouTube and on Twitch, and anyone that's going to come up and watch the video later. And welcome to episode 15, Rise of an Empire.
It is 15.
It is 15.
I actually have double checked that and looked back to all the
Yeah,
last
just
videos.
like, really? 15?
Because I think we've been episode 15 since November. But yeah, sorry very much.
sorry very much.
Very sorry for last week. Through various on various different reasons that we couldn't get past, unable to go live, and we also missed the chat. Hopefully we'll make up for it this week with a new episode, as well as, if everything goes to plan, we should expect to be here for the chat tomorrow as well.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so, we are only 20 minutes late today, but in the effort to get this done sharpish, but still with quality, I'm happy to jump into it. If everybody else is, we're just doing a quick video check. I can see that Stream Elements is actually correct. Episode 15. And
Yeah, that looks good. Yeah.
Looking good. So, last episode, 2 weeks back, the group, the party, had made their way through into the Black Mountains, where they were in search of the Azril Duraz, the Heaven Stone, a piece of the twin-tailed comet that has been for the last year in the sky. It is now passed, but a piece of it, according to your vision, though it wasn't physically seen, according to a vision that's been sent to you by, you believe, Tel, it was a piece of it landed in the Black Mountains. You sought refuge from the Ingvar, the seventh eye of the Vaktari, at the time in the Great Mountains, and where you split with the royal party and moved off in an effort to get to where the stone had landed, but also to make the hunters chase you instead of the royal family. During that process, during that flight, you ended up in the realm of the dwarves, the Dawi, and you then entered the Black Mountains, heading easterly with Grim, or Drengi, as he's been referred to by his own kind, a particularly very large Dawi that seems to be ignores the elements. His hair is in the form of a Mohican with pig fat and dyed orange. He wields 2 axes. And apart from a remarkable array of tattooing and a pair of pants, he seems to walk into the Black Mountains and its wind-swept peaks with little to no regard for the temperature. Eventually, you came across a cave where a mystery unfolded, one that you were unable to get to the bottom of, but you found a survivor. There was several goblin kind had been eaten. You found a much larger orc. You've come across, you know the greenskins, you've fought them before, but you've never seen anything the size of this creature, and heavily armoured as it was, lying partway inside the cave. Graham identified it as a black orc. At the back of the cave was a hobgoblin which Grim dispatched. From there, you continued east until you came across a pass. You are both completely lost at this point. You know, you can be next door to your house. The way that this is, you don't go to the mountains. Mountains are death. Never mind the fact that the Dawi, who are natural enemies of the seventh eye and the Vaktari,
Double death.
Double death, because specifically the Black Mountains are known to be the haunts of large bands of orc and goblin and greenskin kind, as well as monsters, creatures of great power and threat, be the rumour of dragons and their kin, the Wyvern, but even the dreaded basilisk is always believed to haunt the Black Mountains, none of which you've come across or even seen the hint of. Eventually you came across an old hold, a collapsed hold, a defensive point, obviously crafted and built by the Dawi in an ancient past. It was identified for you by Grim. It was given name as the Midhgal Vongalbarak, a dwarf hold, and a sentinel over the pass. Upon entry, or on approach, you identified or saw a statue in remarkably lifelike, doughy in proportion and semblance and armour and looks, except this statue had very visible lower tusks that were dominant and came up on up the side of the face and either side of the nose, the likes of which you haven't seen before. He then entered the hold and found that it had been the scene of a great battle. The garrison was slaughtered and all metal, armour, weaponry, that sort of thing had been removed. The bodies just left in the kill house at the front of the hold itself, just past the main gate, which its main door was noticeably missing. Upon further investigation, a crude tunnel had been dug from one of the barrack rooms. You followed that down and you found a natural cavern, huge, within the mountain, as well as a running lava flow. At the centre, on a lower area of the cavern, you could see a contraption of metal, obviously formed from the beaten metal of armour, and I mean, it was by the different types of metal. Though it had been crafted into two pillars, pylons as it were. In the centre of the pylon was a large rotating cage, a circular cage, a dome, and within it, floating free, because of the speed that this thing's moving, you can see a white glowing light, a solid light. You have assumed, you have drawn the conclusion that this is the Azril Duraz, the heaven stone that you seek. However, you were unable to get access to it. There was a dull thumping and thrumming sound coming from the device, and it looks like it's damaged or somehow it's warped, or there's a fault within the construct. But you couldn't see how it was crafted or how it's powered. In one of the chambers that you investigated, you found effectively a bank of devices. You have no word for them. They were built into the side of the rock face itself. There was piping and tubing coming from it. There seemed to be levers, but there was no way to know what to press. But it seemed to be the controlling mechanism for the device that's housing the Azril Duraz. You found that the lava flow was being controlled, and it was open, allowing it to flow through these three large crafted stone shields, which are in the upright position. While trying to work out how to turn the machine off so you can get a hold of the wanted stone, you looked towards your power. And you were aware of, obviously, the spirits are here, more in this case, more so the earth, or the jawed spirits. However, though the jawed spirits, the earth spirits, were in ascendance, there was a strong luft presence, the presence of the fire spirits in the area. More so the fact that as the session ended, you were sitting down in the main chamber and reaching out with your power to see if there was some way to stop a catastrophic failure, lava, a breaking, and somehow you could lose the stone. That's where it ended.
And possibly ourselves as well.
Well, yes.
Which is probably, at this stage, it's probably a bit more, well, we lost the stone. Never mind.
Yeah.
Right.
Find another way.
To the south.
Yeah. Daiquiris, anyone? You, so as we start, unless there's any questions, any queries, anything that you want to remember?
No, pretty much. Anyone watching wants to ask a question? No? Good.
You remember? No. Nobody remembers.
Would you bring up the physical stream just to make sure that we are still running, if possible?
We are still running, as far as I'm aware.
Excellent. Just want to make sure. Because I know that last week at this point, not last week, the week before this point, it froze upstairs in the office, so I want to make sure it's still going. So hopefully you will see us sitting in the chamber.
Moving,
There'll always be a delay, so I'm not worried about that.
Yeah,
Well,
I just wanted to see.
just to see if it actually, if it's frozen. Oh, no, there you go, there's the hands, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Jazz hands.
So if we have any queries, remember anything that you need to qualify again?
No.
Yeah. So as we begin, You're standing in the main chamber. You're kneeling, crouching.
I'm sitting.
You're sitting.
Yeah.
And are you still
Am I in
on top of the pylon with a rock in your hand?
Yeah, I'm in dwarf form.
You are in the form of
Oh, was I?
Ombrindal.
Yeah, because you picked up a rock and you were bashing it.
Oh, yes.
And he said, please stop that.
Yeah. Please don't stand on the thing that you're going to try and bash all
yes.
of.
What I need to do.
Yeah.
Well over a lake of
Some
lava,
handiwork.
bashing it so that when you're successful, you'll drop.
Okay.
I've got this.
Right. Well, without further ado. And so, Bloop. Episode 15, Rise of an Empire. The Fallen Hold of Midhgal Vongalbarak.
Ooh.
You don't have to go into a trance per se, obviously. You just have to
No,
reach
I
out.
just gazing out to see,
Yep. As you do so, you become aware of an essence, a feeling of rage and anger. It is a feeling that a sense that you've never come across before, and it is a luft spirit. It's enraged. Normally, they are, depending on the element that they represent, they've got a certain feel to them, a certain mischievous to, I'm saying luft, I didn't mean to say luft, I meant brand for fire. The luft spirits are flighty, earth spirits are slow and plodding, the fire spirits are aggressive, but ultimately, you've never felt this before. This is, as you reach out attentively with your mind, it is in the side area where the main...
just not
doors.
round by the ball where I could see the other ones.
No.
Right.
This is in the antechamber where the control device is, where the three large barriers have been raised, and you can feel this presence. It's enraged, extremely agitated, and it's enraged is because it's being controlled. It has been bound to a form. It is huge, whereas all the spirits, them generally are, when they come to this, they can be brought together. In a great storm, they are brought together as one, but they are individuals still with a purpose. This is one that has been enlarged, it is engorged. It is very much aware, but confused. It has not, it's young, like they all are. They don't really have a conscious thought. This is forming thought, and it's confused, and it's in pain. It's confused and pain because it can't leave, it can't move, it doesn't know what's going on. But it is very large. It's been formed in such a way that it is literally the power behind the river of lava that is flowing. Its extremities are such that it is being tapped into. And your mind takes a moment to pause and step back as you realise that you are getting service thoughts. They've never been able to form thought, at least in your experience, and you get a sensation, a feel, which is alien to any experience you've ever had, and that is of a malign darkness, of something that is so destructive that it belies the sort of the carelessness of the seventh eye, as you know them, their thought processes. This has a malign intelligence. It's been formed of a malign intelligence, an intelligence that sees nothing wrong with slavery, with sacrifice, with darkness. You see into its thought process in its mind, and you see something different, something more than any element, any of the spirits have ever formed. It's almost a memory of its creator, of the one that bound it.
Right, so it's not that actually that the spirit, the sprite, the fire spirit is malevolent in itself. It's just bound in a malevolent shell almost, or it's been how it's been held here and how it's been formed and brought together. It's starting to have thoughts as opposed to just characteristics, which is what the other ones are. They're of a capricious nature and they do various things, but you sort of get their idea what they're like. This is more about it's actually thinking or starting to think.
It is.
And also that it's almost got a taint of evil, of something.
It definitely has.
And so it's not its character that's tainted. It's being tainted by how it's been brought here.
Its creation, its bounding was done in such a way that its creator, its master, was of that mental
Right.
state, and it is a shadow, a reflection of the creator's form, thought.
Right. And is that something that in terms of binding one of these things, I don't bind them. I ask them to do things and will them to do things, but I don't have to bind them. So this is something new.
Absolutely. It's against its very nature.
Right.
It's
Okay.
against all the natures of any of the spirits, no matter how you would
So
look at it.
at this stage, is it fair to say it's becoming sentient? It's becoming aware of itself. It's becoming aware of its surroundings. It's aware of us, or it could be aware of us.
Completely oblivious.
Right.
It's aware of itself, and it's aware of its pain.
Right. Okay. So what I need to do, or what I will do, is obviously in this sedentary, in this not quite lotus position, but I'm sitting on the ground, aware of this thing, is to try and perceive how it's being contained, how it's effectively being bound, and B, see if I can make contact with the essence of what it is. How I normally talk to these things, how the communication's not necessarily talk, but and certainly the little ones that are in the next room, I could just talk to them, and it'd be like almost like they flutter around, and I can understand the nature or understand the direction, not purpose, but what they're trying to achieve, or what it's almost like you can herd ducks. You can just get them together, a bit of a gaggle, a bit all over the place, but you can usually get them. So I want to try and see how this thing's been held. B, see if I can start communicating with this emergent sentient thought process. But the first one that's the sequence, is find out how it's been bound, or at least sense, is there some sort of shape, form, method to the binding. And then B, once I've got that, once I've worked out whatever that means, in terms of information, then try and make contact with them to try and soothe it, to try and find if I can release this thing, almost like a sea creature that's caught up in netting, like it'll be agitated and not happy, and I don't want it to strike out as the first thing that comes near it, thinking, well, I'll take it out on you, but to try and release it from that net. If I'm just using that as an analogy. Right? Maybe it isn't wrapped like a net, but that's sort of idea.
Fair enough. Obviously, as you're all well aware that you don't verbally
No, I don't.
communicate with these things.
No.
You give them, you'll put a visual into them of what you want to achieve.
That's right, yeah, and sort of like
Ask them to do it.
it's
Achieve
well,
it.
just but you'd love to do that, but not saying those words.
Yeah.
But ooh,
Yeah,
if you're
it's
a
all
fire
about
spirit and
visuals,
there's a load of kindling, ooh, wouldn't it look good if all that kindling went up? And they go, ooh, and they dance among us. And next thing you know,
Yeah.
fire. But at this stage, it's just what form does the net take? We'll go with that sea creature analogy. What form does the net take? And then how agitated is the huge whale that we've got trapped in the net? And then basically work a way to communicate, to try and tell this thing that we're going to release it if possible. But I also want it to stop this lava flow that it's being forced, presumably, to create or control or something. Find out how that's been achieved, like and sort of so.
Okay, so you
I
visualize.
I want to know the net first.
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
So it's a power that's very like unto the other scimitar I use, the other Soviet, but much stronger, much older.
Right.
You can't fathom, you can't see, being a practitioner yourself, of what's being done, but you can. It's almost like you visualize vague runic like symbols that float like flames around this entire creature,
Right.
and effectively chaining it to this realm, to this dimension, this place. It can't escape, and from there, it's been engorged. It's fed upon itself and built up into this thing. It's basically more of it than would normally reside in this area is being dragged effectively to the surface, and therefore creating this thing. And in doing so, you can see that these wards, these sigils that you visualise are floating around it, flaming, which you don't recognise, you don't know what they mean. In doing so, it creates pain, in the pain itself causes it to get angrier, and getting angrier becomes more powerful, and more powerful it becomes. You see that the lava itself is effectively wounds, open wounds upon its sides. You become aware that its size is monstrous. It is truly gigantic.
Right.
in its bound form, and it's been allowed to form, to build and build, and that this lava flow is literally an open wound within its psyche, within its creation. You don't know how to break or how to potentially remove these sigils because you don't know how they've been formed, you don't know what they mean. But you know that you can communicate with it. You
Right.
know that whoever bound it, whoever had this power to do so, never thought or obviously didn't take into account someone such as yourself who can communicate with the spirits, because based on its shadow of the creator, they didn't communicate with it. It was not a discussion. This was dragged into this plane and made manifest.
So the lava itself is a psychic injury, so
Yes.
it's not something it's creating, it's something it's bleeding out on.
Causing it to flow.
Right, okay.
And you can trace that, and you can see that it enters the pylon itself, and whatever that's doing, creating this spinning, which is controlling the stone. To what end, you have no idea. The more you look at it, the more you think this is an unfinished device. This is an unfinished mine. This is not complete.
Right. Okay. And we've next door. I've only got wind and earth.
Yep. Well, you've got air as well. I mean, they're all there, but of different strengths.
But no water. Put it that way.
Zero
water. Right. Okay. Well, I'm reaching out with the power that's innate. I'm making contact with its psyche, and being very diplomatic and gracious, and being sensitive, soothing, projecting images of being soothing and not nowhere in terms of a threat. Just to try to get it to become aware that there's something here, so it becomes aware of me.
Like an ally or friend?
Yeah, absolutely.
I am your enemy.
Yeah.
Well, becoming an ally as a friend, as opposed to nothing, just, hi, I'm here.
Yeah, no.
It's up to it to then decide what you want, but if you try to go in there all like...
And it's, as I say, soothing, making representation that understand that, as I say, using the analogy of a bound creature, that I'm there to try and help.
Yep.
And see whether... So it's not producing... If you're saying it's a wound, it's not like, oh, can you stop being wounded? It's not like, oh, well, you're doing this. It's more like it's the effect of it's doing it.
Yes.
And so
it
anyway,
can stop the flow of the river.
Yeah.
But it's the river itself is powered and being supplied effectively by this wound.
Right.
So you can imagine that if you've got a big enough damage and a big enough wound, that's not going to kill you, but you're bleeding out. You can't, not necessarily be able to stop the bleeding if you have no ability to do so, but you can stop it dripping there.
Yeah. And that's I'm going to try. I'm going to try and project the image of the river, basically stopping, not being projected. Not being get that control exactly that. I want it to try to stop the flow, and not.
Just for future reference.
And then, the entreaties is that I'm a friend, there to help, going to get you out of this, But what I need you to do, not what I need you to do, because it's not that sort of two-way communication, but it's just picture the image of the river stopping, of just petering out, of not flowing anymore. And then I need to. What I'm going to do is try and find the Luft spirits, and regaling them to the great game of who can blow the hardest on one of these fire things, the runes, what are they, all these sigils in the air. Who can blow on one of these the hardest? Let's have a game of this, and just show them and make it look like fun and interesting, and trying to persuade as many of those to get in here, and just go for who can blow the hardest on this particular one rune, whatever rune it is. Doesn't matter. The one that
break one.
Just break one,
Yep.
and just see who. And that's the game. The game is who can blow on this the hardest, and take turns. And then and just see who can spin it around, who can get it to move, and just see if I can get the air spirits, the Luft spirits, to really have fun with this thing. And once that's been entreated and I've got that going, to then relay that the image that air spirits are fun and they're not there to harm, and they're just to the thing, so he doesn't, in my mind, don't think it's under attack. By air. So, but that's
Play now war.
Yeah, it's like elemental against elemental. So I haven't brought water in. Just brought air. Air feeds fire. So do that. So it's a two-pronged process. Touch stop the flow. Nice big image of the flow stopping, and then air spirits to blow like mad. Let's have that game. Let's really have fun with that and make it sound like project to them. It'd be a great fun.
Okay. You've seen him when he's done his 70th eye thing, whatever his rituals are. You stop and you see him going like, whether his eyes are closed or he's got his eyes open, but a distant look. You're standing on the edge of the main chamber, but with the antechamber still visible, if I remember correctly. You'd sort of stopped just to look in to see what was going on, but you were trying to work out what lever to press, because they were saying, pull a lever, and you, what lever?
Oh, and by the way, I'm not sort of sitting there in a Zen thing and nothing's going on. My hands are almost directing, so you can see things being, it's like, mad, look at what he's, I'm not quite talking to myself, but, it's like you can see me pointing at things and...
Minority Report.
Yeah.
Yeah. You behind you hear it sounds like an intake of breath, a big behemoth-like intake of breath. You hear this, and then you hear like, and the lava, where the main pool is, suddenly just goes and splashes up. You see one of the main, the lava as it hits the side of one of the contraptions, it literally just melts through the metal, starting to glow white hot. It splashes up, you see the river start to rise, it's been agitated, it's getting close, lands on the stones near you. You have to take a couple of steps back as you feel this. It's already hot, but this is scorching hot. You feel your nostril hairs vanish.
Walk towards
the
conductor.
You, as you're standing, you can, you're moving forward, but your mind and concentration is on this lava that's suddenly, the underground flow has increased. Potentially, it's just nature, it's just natural. Potentially, the device is damaged. You're standing upon the pylon, and you can hear the sound of wind. You can hear the soft moan becoming louder. As you reached out, as you made contact, the initial response is, and you see this thing, its surface is cooled in parts and forms a shape, a form, almost humanoid in mind. Then it turns. Your approach as you just tap it gently. Its reaction is incredibly aggressive, and slang it, destroy. It doesn't form words by any means, but you feel it's instant hate, and every emotion seems to be tainted to the wrong side. There's no give. You know that the fire, you're aware that obviously brand spirits can be very agitated. They can become easily agitated, in fact. But generally, like most of them, they're just there to achieve their own sense of fun. There's no real deep thought.
There's no malice in them.
This is malice. But you persevere.
I don't think I have to. I've just opened, just went, eek.
Hello!
Straight out the, what do you call it, when the thing looks down. Hello, strange thing on the other side. Ah!
As you step further, you have to leave. The lava's splashing out and landing around the chamber. It's flooding the antechamber.
So we're talking end scene, Revenge of the Sith, it's just coming all over the place and there's lava flows everywhere.
Billy Big Steps.
Yeah.
You're like,
don't worry, I'll save myself. Oh, great.
You can feel the wind, you can feel the drawing of the air, and it seems to be passing by and heading up the main chamber. You've not spent much time underground, you don't know how air currents work, but it's something about it makes you feel a bit different. Feel on guard as your cloak whips suddenly.
Go, this must be what they call a backdraft.
You look up the chamber and you see him. You see Grim piling his way towards you, looking over his shoulder.
He's going to check on this. He's going to check on the courses.
To clarify, is he full Tom Cruise?
Yeah. Billiest big steps.
Because Tom Cruise is like...
There's no honour in dying fighting lava.
It's another say. Well,
The second you say full Tom Cruise, then you know you gotta get out of there.
He's full Mission Impossible. With the missile coming along and hitting the car behind. Yeah, he's out. He has a very determined look of going from one place to another as fast as possible.
That other place being Altdorf. 300 years later.
Yeah, he's running so fast he goes forward in time. That's unexpected.
So right now I need agility, so I put away the...
Agility?
You need agility, or you're going to just...
I'm going to get them to D20s.
I'm going to get out the D20s, so agility time.
I'll take a pranic form.
Put away me,
Your rock.
Put away your
Yeah,
rock.
put the rock down first, and then put the axe away.
Right. Wait, you had a rock in... Where was the axe?
No,
What axe?
the one that lets me.
Oh, that axe.
Changing the
Oh, you
Power
mean,
Ranger
right.
and stuff?
Okay, I understood, right, yeah. Power Ranger?
Power
No,
Ranger.
no, no.
Oh, the moment's completely shattered.
So basically what I've now realised is he was standing with a two-handed axe and a rock,
Yeah.
because that wasn't going to go wrong.
No. Swinging it above his head.
Do I have to hold it? Do I have to keep a hold of this axe
You can put it down.
to remain in?
No.
You could have holstered it
Oh, okay.
across your back.
But I was
Sideways, because doors can't have a two-handed axe on the back. They go...
assuming that.
Can't get through doors. King. Ah.
Yeah, dwarf's always got black eyes. So ding, ding, ding.
Or alternatively, every dwarf hole, the door's ridiculously wide. Like, why is this so wide? We only at one level. Just like a T-junction. Just doors like that, like a big cross.
What they don't
They're
realise.
big for
Nobody
a
ever knew that dwarves walk sideways. They charge at people like crabs.
What's wrong with these? Really? Whoa, big axe.
Okay, I put down the rock, returned into my original Caradak form,
Okay.
and I
Fall.
yeah, leg it. I
Anyway,
Right, you land.
jump down.
Very
and,
agile.
Run down.
You see, right? So you see him turn into his Caradak form, lands on the ground and runs away. In the opposite direction.
I'm sorry, he said he's full Tom Cruise in there. I'm not taking it. No chance.
so you just go in a different direction. Ah, everyone, panic!
So see him-
Panic!
I was like, okay, that's what that means.
What if this thing can turn me into a chicken? Because I'm going to run around like a headless one.
So you very quickly
I'm not
start.
going headless. I know where I'm going.
I know, completely in the opposite direction.
You leave the centre thigh behind as you escape the
What is
the
it?
flooding chamber.
18 years of indoctrination. Gone.
Fire. Nah.
Nah.
Centre thigh dies.
Nah.
You see the dwarf running and that's it.
Yeah,
How to bring
you saw the
Atari.
crazy dwarf running at him.
Yeah.
He's actually running away from the lava because he didn't know what's happened yet. He just saw him running at him.
But if he knows he's running away from it,
He'd be great in a battle. Oh! Well, we know who led the retreat.
the psychotic dwarf Slayer is running away.
Talon of
That can't be a good thing.
Theme.
a Talon just sees a host of people retreating immediately. Run away! But run away with real style as they're all like Billy Big.
You stand there. I am Thane, great Thane of all the talons of the Victoria. I have slaughtered Buso and now control them with an iron fist. I swear my oath and allegiance to the seventh thigh. Fire! Run!
Yeah. Hey, that villager's running away. Looks nervous. Gone.
That hasn't happened yet. That's still made up.
Well, so you see him sort of drop and run.
Sprint off at high
and
speed.
very, very quickly.
I look at
run
him,
fast.
it's like,
Yeah. He seems to be oblivious.
What are we running away from?
He shouts over his shoulder as he disappears up the tunnel. You hear an echo back. What are we running away from?
the river full of
What
lava.
are we running away from?
Brave Sir Robin. It's just like, God, hey, it's just she's in the distance. Away from.
I didn't.
It's a tactical retreat.
Tactical retreat.
So once I'm on top and I can see it, and I'll spin round and get my
You look at the tunnel.
get my swords out, and I'm like, right,
Wonder what I
What
ran
is
away.
it?
Wonder what I ran away from.
So bear in mind that the tunnel does this.
yeah,
So you go, "Huh!" So all you can see is that far.
Yeah.
get my swords out. Just cautiously.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it happened.
Oh, God. I'm not scared of you, no. Whoever you are, I'm not scared of you.
What is it, Grim?
I'm going to throw a big rock.
A rock comes out skittering.
Yeah, you've never seen a rock come uphill before.
I'm going home.
2 days later,
I
back
know
in the
going back to Fornam Ur, where it's, what was it called? Fornam Ur?
You're home.
Fornam
Yeah, you're going home.
Fornam Ur.
You're gonna go back to
Yeah, you just repeated what I said wrong.
Fornam
Fornam Ur? Fornam Ur.
Fornam Ur
I'm going to Cardiff. What? No, I think it was called Cardiff.
was a place that we've been banished from.
The Fornam Ur.
Fornam Ur.
You're going to go back to the place of certain death.
It's safer.
So after 3 weeks of hard struggle, you get to your own beheading. Did you think this one through?
I wonder what happened in the lava pit.
Yeah. I wonder what was coming out that hole.
So no, I retreat.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you're retreated already.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I
Then you come back
I
again.
didn't realise I'd run that fast.
One of
You
those-
said you got to the top?
Yeah,
No,
no.
I said I run up
You
the
don't. You
ramp
said you
because
got to the top.
I
and turned round.
visualised
I visualised.
a wave like this.
It's a dwarf.
It's a dwarf you came in a wave.
I thought it was safe. It's safer than that.
It's like Big Wednesday.
The dwarf moves so fast, he just forms a wave.
They call him Grim the Masochist. They're going to cook the masochist.
Light just bends, and next thing you know, it's like the shape of form and the
This might
ethereal
not
form.
be novels because my visualization of all of them are really,
But you never said that. You said the dwarf comes. You said the dwarf
I
running.
thought that was he was running away from like a wave of lava and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, we're gonna die! Sort of. That's why.
So you added the wave of lava based on knowledge
dwarf.
you don't have,
Yeah.
based on the dwarf running into the chamber.
Yeah.
And asking, is you running full Tom Cruise?
Yeah. He's
It's
running,
your own fault.
running really fast. Ah! Boom,
Billy
boom.
Big Step, full Tom Cruise, wave of lava, right of the Valkyries.
Yeah,
there's a
Balrog's
tank.
probably. Yeah, yeah.
this is the end.
I'll run back to my hold to be slaughtered by the Zenithai.
Hell of a reaction. Someone over
Must be great in a fight.
doesn't panic.
Be one of those guys that when you see a fight and they go right, gonna fight, and they maintain distance, they run backwards, they run forwards, they run backwards, and actually like get a blow. Like, oh, come on! Oh,
Want some tea? Want some?
yeah.
It's been a difficult 6 months.
It has been. Yes.
You know, we're on edge.
I just like how you transformed into the faster running shape.
It really makes you get
really
yeah, like it's something like
I need agility.
like when I want to get really cowardice. I can't be in this form. I mean, I want to really get running away at high speed.
I don't know what it is. I see. That's why I clarified. Is he full Tom Cruise in it? And Tom Cruise is code for get everybody. It's a nuke.
No, that's
That's just him running. All right, okay.
He's a dwarf. He always looks like he's pounding those tiles.
But you didn't find out until you got to
He literally got to the doorway. And you went, "Whoop."
yeah. I found gold. Okay.
Right.
So okay, after my
Overreaction.
Tactical panic.
I was totally in control.
The high-pitched screaming was just
Yeah.
a tactic as well.
That helps
That is to
disorientate the enemy.
Exactly.
It's his tactical withdrawal war cry.
Yeah.
So they think I am.
Oh my God!
retreating in fear, but I'm actually not.
That'd be a horrifying war cry, wouldn't it? Just have someone actually running at you screaming.
Put on,
Looking scared.
yeah, like, "Ah, wait a minute, why is he running at me? What's behind him? Ah! And everyone just runs away. Did you see actually?
Scared. What are we running away from? With the enemy.
I don't know. I don't care about you. The thing that was chasing me.
It's a classic. So that's Victoria. The only thing.
That's right, they're terrifying.
They're absolutely brave, but they're the type of people that when they run up the stairs as a joke, they suddenly feel like they're being chased and run faster.
Yeah, like, oh, actually, forget why they're running. And then just, yeah, I'm real. Just a feedback loop.
Yeah, the Victoria are not allowed to charge.
Oh my God, we've just forgotten.
They're
Ah!
a defensive troop only, and they're only allowed to stand. Because when we say charge, they overtake the enemy while screaming high pitched.
Just carry on running. Get over the walls, they're over the walls. They've run over the other walls, they're around the city. Where they're going? Oh, wait a minute.
The war of indecisiveness. Meanwhile,
So meanwhile,
so you get to the top and shout back,
I head back down.
right?
Uh,
Well, by then you'll have definitely caught up with
So,
the
yeah.
Zenithai.
I
Are you a bit worried about how fast he ran away and you're concerned that there's something behind you didn't know?
Yeah, maybe he's seen something like,
You stop and look over your shoulder, like you see him running, you go like, what the hell?
wait a minute.
Realise,
Orcs. Oh, must be
Wasn't he
orcs.
meant to be looking after him?
Must be giant spiders. Must be something horrible. Ah!
giant spiders riding dragons.
yeah, who's looking after me?
You apparently.
Exactly. That's my point.
Well, you get to the Zenithai's prone position. As he continues to do what he's doing,
Go
direct.
behind him in case he gives me a slap.
How close are you getting? What the hell's wrong with you?
I'll go check the Zenithai. I knew it!
So I'll go behind him just in case you've got to be.
Meanwhile,
grabbed out.
all you can hear in the sound is sound of urine coming down. That just helps as well. This helps you move faster. It's lubricant. And I know the smell of shit. That helps terrify them as well as the crying.
I've been told. So yeah, you get to the Zenithai.
Are you
the,
all right?
the lava is from the second. Hello.
Get off. Are you all right?
You can feel the bristle of his beard.
Yeah, just like
the tongue.
just like a cat running inside. What are you?
I swear allegiance to you.
Get off me.
That was
Wait.
unexpected.
Where's my protector? Oh, right. I'm just going to change my pants.
He said he just wanted to introduce you to his lava womb. You get there and look. You walk around behind him and look towards the chamber itself, where you just came from. You can see that the lava is already splashed up, literally as expanded and layered up at that end onto the actual onto the stone walkway, as it were, and it's starting to move towards you. There is no difference now at this point as it is working its way down. Looking up the main lava flow, you can obviously based on the way that the cave system is, you can just see that it's starting to rise, but at the main pool it has come out of its broke the bank and is now moving down through the corridor. You come back down, you hear the skittering stones, and he comes back down, sliding there.
Just checked everything's fine outside. Just making sure everything's okay. Yeah, we're not being attacked.
Yeah, just
I went to the moot. the halflings are fine.
check the perimeter.
Got it,
Perimeter, it's totally fine. No enemies.
Comes back dressed in Arabian silks. Where have you been?
Check all the bodies, make sure there's no one alive.
You see the lava has broke its banks and the antechamber is now moving towards you.
The girlish shriek erupts from his lips. As he tumbles.
I'm not walking lava.
Just a second. I haven't checked Arabia yet. They may need help.
Oh, then, I'll take it.
Ah! He's got his war cry going again.
So obviously, I noticed him come out to him on the bank. Where is Ulmakor?
I stepped to the side.
Oh, is he right next to him?
As he licks the side of my fist.
Exactly where he was when you ran
So I
away.
could see him all the
Yes.
time.
Yes.
I thought
He was
just-
there, and you jumped down and ran off.
Which is why I was saying.
This comes down to
Which is why we're just like,
The last 20 minutes of piss taking was all because of
different game. I thought you.
So who's the guy with the top hat, the big tash? He's trying to sell his Bond Street. I don't understand. That's Monopoly.
why is Optimus Prime here? Why? It's just meanwhile I'm going, what the hell?
What's this truck doing here?
The beetle will be really handy now, I suppose. Everyone into it.
Is this truck always here?
Lava comes out, you scream, and you hear, "Oh, Autobots, roll out!"
So, I visualised that he was in a separate chamber,
He was.
which I couldn't.
Him?
Yeah, him.
He was.
So I thought he.
So
you
all-
got partners, right?
He's
No, I'm still
kneeling
beside you.
effectively, you know,
Oh,
by
right, okay.
the pylon and the...
Because you'd seen me doing all the wavy davy stuff, and then you saw the dwarf come and you pelted it at high speed. You went, "Phoom, shing, man! Whoa, get out of here, quick!"
Then came back with, "Where's Ulmakor?" And he's like, "Where you left him?"
This looks so stupid now. Why? You wouldn't have done that.
He apparently did.
That's why we were a bit... Really? Yep. I can't walk on lava. I'm going back to my home.
I'd rather die.
We're all going to die.
Yeah.
It's the end of the world. All these things were being said. That's why... I mean, actually, to be fair, will quote myself. You're leaving the Semnathai?
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah,
That's what.
but that didn't penetrate your head, not your vision.
Well, it did penetrate my head, but I
It's
thought
just not the
that you were in a
consciousness.
separate, separate area, different antechamber. The one I thought you were where
You stood beside us.
I didn't realise that until now.
Who's the old guy down there waving around?
Remember, he was Stan looked up and he went, "Don't hit it with a rock," and you went, "Oh, okay."
Okay,
That's
so
okay.
all right, okay, so
Even
I
so,
stared at him.
chant.
So, even though you're in a trance and therefore he'd have to tell you about it, which no doubt he will.
But there's a part of me that is aware of myself.
So,
Yeah.
you're like,
Going, what the hell?
You obviously realise that the Bactari, specifically this one at least, are prone to panic reactions.
Be careful any information you give him.
Just, yeah, be careful exactly what you say. It's a bit cold. What? To the south, run! There's a glacier coming! What? Look out for the ice whales!
We can only survive if we kill the children. Kill the children!
Eat everyone!
It's something outside.
That's it. We've only got about 3 pounds of salted beef left. Cannibalism it is, the lads.
Yeah, sorry. Kill me! Simplify first.
Oh man.
Caradak ate his last talent.
Okay.
Why? 20 minutes before they got back, he felt a bit peckish. Didn't know if he could last that long to
Hey,
eat them all.
we're nearly out of the hardtack, boss. Right! Shink! Oh! Anyone want to know? Bloody hell.
Okay, you're in a trance. You didn't know any of this happened.
There's an older part of me that is aware because I
You is quiet. You see that he's safe. It's totally fine.
when you do wake me up, I'm like, why is he panting?
So
He's just been stubborn.
So now that I can see him, I understand he's doing his 75 thing.
So your panic blindness that you suffered for a moment passes.
Okay, and I realise
Which
that
has all been written on a piece of paper. But honestly,
In a large journal. Dear diary. He's so good again.
Ulmakor did it again.
Yeah.
Caradak.
So
Yes, Caradak.
yeah, I return, and I'm aware. Caradak is now aware that he's totally fine. It's just a Semnathai doing Semnathai business, and he's fine.
You are.
He is.
Right, okay.
So he's not in danger.
Well, he is. There's a lava flood coming towards him.
God.
So you go from one extreme to, everything's fine. And then you die.
Yeah.
What? How did that happen? 20 minutes it was coming towards you.
Just sat there. Well, it's getting a bit close.
Just plop.
Right.
Plop. Nah.
So I will pick him up.
Pick you up.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, wave your hands while on top of my shoulders.
I'm sitting at the center on this one.
Right, it's not coming at him like a burst riverbank.
Right.
Right, it is a swelling of the river
Right.
that's broken the bank at the back.
Okay.
That's coming. There is no imminent about to die danger.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
And he's obviously doing something. So breaking his concentration.
So run over to the floor to judge its speed. Oh, I'm fine. I've got plenty of time.
And he almost, and then he slowly moves his foot.
what's going on here? Beads of sweat.
Takes another step. Takes another step. Goes right back. Right, it's okay.
It's hot.
It's alright, we've got some time. So that's
Why did you run up to it and judge it? Could you just look at it?
no, I'm only kidding. I didn't do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
you
think
did.
you did.
I did.
I think you did.
I'm gonna,
Did.
right, I want to know how hot it is, so I'll quickly jump in it.
Yeah.
I'll take my strides up because I don't want them getting wet. I don't think you understand what lava is.
I'll stick my old
Well, you
fellow
said
in.
it was a river. River of fire.
I don't need fire.
Yes, you have plenty of time with which you can, if he doesn't come out of his trance, to break it. And what?
There's a witch.
What are you drinking? What is this stuff?
What did he say?
Ah, vodka. That's why.
I wish you'd let us get the end of your sentence just to hear you go, right, well, I'm going to throw my spear into the witch. Witch?
I thought you said witch.
I said the word.
Not the actual witch.
No.
We would probably have noticed that. Or maybe they didn't. Suddenly there's this poor old woman pinned to a wall. Ah! Shit! Every time! Every time! No matter where I am, I'm going to spawn.
I am here for my, I'm here to save my son.
Just walking
Well,
through,
you are a woman.
I didn't say that.
walking through right door. Ah! Witch. Twitch, twitch, twitch. Witch, you can tell she's a witch.
Okay.
She's got a spear in her.
She pinned herself to that building with a spear through her chest and died. Witch.
All witches do that.
Then burn her, then drown her.
That's one of their key traits.
I will stand by my master Ulmakor's side to
Okay.
make sure he is safe.
You somehow, strangely enough, feel tired watching this frenetic energy.
Just a split personality, just like you know.
It's confusing.
You know when you've seen those horror films where they go, like the shaking with the demons thing, like it's just like a million miles. That's what I envisage. He's just going on like, I'm fine.
And then he suddenly stops and goes, where's the witch? Did I see a witch? I'm sure I saw a witch.
No witch, right? I'm fine.
It's like every game.
Calm.
It's like every
It
game.
wasn't like that. But
It's
then
always
suddenly,
like-
as soon as you give him freedom, you just go mad.
Just like I can do anything I want. I'm going to do
I
everything.
didn't ask you if there was a witch in the game. There's a witch? That's a perfect game. Because you wish it as a
You run up to
There's
the
a
fire.
witch?
You run up and go. Right, we're going to be all. Witch!
Yeah.
Did you see a witch? Did you see a witch?
I thought I saw a witch. Spear out.
It's not flowing fast, okay, dwarf? Yeah. Wow! Sorry, thought I saw a witch. Got a spare spear?
It's my natural reaction when a witch.
I know, but
It's a natural reaction.
he's like, where are you? That was Ronaldo's dagger.
Yeah. Need that back. You got a hanging you can pick it out with maybe
It's like-
tongs.
It's all right. Nothing to worry about.
From this is not going how I planned it. Bloody witches.
Turns it back and flies off. He's like,
At speed. I'm safe. It's okay. I'll go for help.
Okay. So I stand by Ulmakor's side.
Excuse me. God dear me.
catching your breath.
Yeah, panting heavily.
No, I'm remarkably fit. I know this all the time.
Look when you're not looking. Do you remember that time we asked him to look at that chest? I really didn't.
You sprinted around the town 3 times.
He was in the wrong house.
What about all the things?
He came out through the toilet.
Like a man, like a millennial.
No, this is not right.
Burrow his way through a right door.
Is that a witch?
So, no. That's what I'm doing. I'm God.
You're God.
He's like,
I'm God! I'm alert.
you come out of your trance long enough to see him stabbing the lava.
How about you?
How about they?
Get back, you!
Yeah, I fear you not.
I challenge you.
So, you do realize this means war.
Whoa. Well, it was a hard one to fight, my lord.
Covered in blisters.
Yeah, he comes out. Hey, what's happening here?
Jesus!
Black
Jesus!
scored one.
What's been happening while I was in a
That was
trance?
a good fight.
I beat back the river
What?
with my axe.
Witches again, isn't it? Must be witches. Come, Caradak. You'll be fine. Ooh, it's a bit stingy. Anyone?
It's a bit toasty.
I blame the infection.
All right.
Infection. You know, an episode, whatever it was. 12, 13. 12?
Did you bring the calamine lotion, my lord? I'm a bit burnt.
One of the episodes.
Toasty.
When I
Dab.
13.
Yeah.
When I got,
What?
and I'm infected.
Apparently.
This
Right.
is supposed to be the quick bit.
No.
I haven't even got to the meat yet.
Okay.
Right.
So that's what I'm doing. End of.
Wow.
After all that.
Final decision.
Right. So again, like I say, you feel somewhat exhausted having watched him frenetically fight the lava, run away, come back.
Search for witches.
Yeah.
Why did you run?
I was in the room. I was going to fucking die.
Lava? Generally we do. You move out of the way of it.
You could have walked out.
Strolled.
Small room. Nobody Tom Cruises it.
Are you still in the Caradak form as well?
Yes.
So you're still not too sure whether you want to, like...
You
just
can always
get-
tell he's in Caradak, won't be thinking of running.
Yeah, you're still not too sure. Like,
Right.
Come on, Lava.
Yeah, so aware that its initial reaction is aggressive and angry, it inflames, it flares up to kill and slaughter, to burn a threat.
It's not fed on by nervous energy, is it? It's from the freaking turbine.
Well, actually, it's-
By the turbine beside me.
Meanwhile, there's in gleeful abandon, the love spirits start attacking, effectively breathing, pushing against
The runes.
The runes,
Yeah.
and the elemental force can't understand what you are, where you are. It just is engaging itself. It's effectively standing up and becoming aggressive, and as a result, you can see, because you can, the lava is flowing up and more powerful. You then again attempt to calm it, let it understand that you're not an enemy, that you are not the creator, you are not the malign, malicious force that caused this,
Bound it.
but also that you are there to help it and release it. And it starts to calm as much as anything that is made of fire can
Yeah.
be calm. It at least doesn't seek to destroy you. The Luft spirits become more and more powerful as they're pushing at this, trying to put this signal out. Meanwhile, then I think the next one was to stop the flow.
Yeah.
As you stand beside the gesturing Semnathai, you become aware of the slowing of the device. The thumping becomes slower. You start seeing that it is lattice work of thick iron bands, and they start becoming noticeably visible until eventually it comes to an actual halt. In the centre, you can see the rough shape of a stone, roughly hewn, not carved in any way, and it is giving off this light when the cage comes to a natural halt.
So is it, just to ask you, does it just look like a mineral, like a natural formed
Yes.
rock? It's not obviously polished.
No,
It's not Arkenstone type stuff. It's just like a lump of
actual lump of
rock.
fine rock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a
You can reach through it.
pick it up?
Okay. Yeah, all right. You put your hand through it and feel that it is literally just suspended there. You don't know how. And you withdraw it. You feel a very perceptible relaxing of the spirit. You feel it, that not all but some of its pain is gone, that only the wards now are causing it pain. You can see obviously from your plane that he's retrieved this stone, and it seems that in direct contact with the lava was causing it pain. He withdraws it.
The stone's contact with the lava was causing a pain. All right.
Or it's being in the device.
In the device, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also see a very, very noticeable weakening of the runes.
The runes, right? Okay.
You can see that they're breaking down, and very quickly they evaporate, just little in your mind with
So was it,
steam.
irrespective of what the lufts are doing, they just
Yeah.
it dissipates anyways.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And in doing so, almost immediate, almost instantaneous, the great brand spirit dissolves effectively, returns back to its more primitive state, becoming smaller and less aggressive until it blends in with the rest of the the brand spirits that
Oh,
are
right, yeah.
bouncing and dancing around on the lava. You also see that the lava itself stops flowing, and you can see that even on the most basic level, it's starting to cool. Yes, it'll be a long time before it completely cools.
Yeah.
You can see it's no longer active,
Yeah.
and will turn to its.
So it's like
original form.
Like those Mayfic ones on Hawaii where it's just like a slow blip and it's
Yeah.
actually cooling as it's doing it, and then as opposed to fast flowing rivers of lava.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It'll be some time before
Yeah.
the Soul River does so, but it's no longer being fed, and therefore it's starting to cool down. You're holding onto the stone, and you can feel old aches and injuries from a broken thumb from back in the day to actual physical injuries that you still carry that ache recede. Physically, you don't look any different, but you also feel a calming of the soul. You know on the path that you're on and why you're on it. That is still very much something that you know as if you've read it. But the massive emotion behind it all calms. Your rage calms. You feel the aches and pains recede. You see all the lava start, it becomes sluggish and stops. You can see this starts to, just become sluggish, and then he stops
Gesticulating.
His eyes refocus. You see the Drengi Grim standing before you, holding
A big rock.
a big
It's
rock.
it's still it's glowing, is it, or it doesn't change?
So it's gone down to more like it's giving off a light from within. It's not that blinding brilliance.
Blaze, right? Yeah. Turn the lamp off,
Yeah.
right? And I've noticed, so everything else has dissipated. It's back to normal. I'll stand up and loosen at the kinks, and then walk over to where Grim is, and
He's right beside you.
he's actually
He's
loosened.
literally just standing near this
Right,
cross.
and I'll have a look at what it is. This thing.
It is just you don't know where the light's coming from. It's the light's definitely coming from within, but it is hewn rock. If it wasn't for the fact it was giving off light,
Yeah. So it is hewn. It's been chopped out. It's not like a lump of quartz, like a naturally formed. Like it's been
sorry, I was using the word hewn as in removed from a larger piece.
right. So it's broken off, but
Yes.
but it could just be like a big lump of
It is. Yeah.
quartz.
Yeah.
You know, like that sort of
Yeah.
natural crystals are all around. Then it's like, oh, I wonder what it is. It's not a polished design stone.
Correct.
Right. Okay. May I?
I was handing it to you.
All right. Okay. Ah! Ah! Feel the full power of the dark side. Oh, wrong one.
Yeah. Well, it's so before you take it, you can see that the muscles are. He's obviously by far stronger than anyone here.
Yeah.
And he has that sort of look of someone that's holding a rock of this size.
Oh, so it's a big lump of rock.
It's a big lump of rock.
It's not like, hand it to me.
Yeah. He's like that. You can see that the muscles have gone a bit out there. He's like, I'm holding a big piece of rock and an extended arm.
Just put it on the ground rather than, thank you. Get it off me.
So this is a large piece of rock, very likely to be probably beyond your ability to comfortably pick up and move
Right.
straight back, to put it that way.
Okay, well, if you can put it down on the ground.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And I'm basically going to put my hands on it and let my thoughts not commune with it, but become aware of it, and aware of it. Like, same sort of thing when I was working with the spirit of the fact that there was a taint to it. See if there's that's not a taint to it, but see what my reaction to its essence is. As it, does it have a flavour to it? An esoteric taint. Does it feel like I've just touched the heart of death? I'm feeling a bit there, or
More mellow.
yeah, or is it like anyone got any munchies?
You feel nothing.
Feel absolutely nothing. Right.
There was no feeling to it whatsoever. It's obviously got a power, but it's a power that you don't recognise. It's not something that you could measure in the sense of good or evil.
It doesn't even radiate a power. It's just a stone to me.
Yeah,
A lump of rock.
an absolute lump of rock.
Wonderful.
However, you had a sudden flash of
Stop that.
I've
seen that before. Look at that. What you're sparring away.
you get a sudden flash of somebody, male, human, fairly youthful but quite large, corded muscles, that sort of thing. He has a look of the Reich folk, the tribe of man, and it's basically the flash is more of a distant look, and then you're in.
Right.
And at first you feel
There's like a brief glimpse of the.
yeah,
Oh.
and then you're there looking into the face, and you just see absolute power, a power that could be your undoing, not in the sense of an aggressive, but as in you are power. You know what it's like. You feel like almost this is what other people feel like when I stare at them. You quail at it, and these the eyes are two different colours. But mainly, you accelerate towards this man. At first, you think that you're moving towards Caradak. But on close inspection, you realise it's not. This man, you see, he's half Caradak's age, a youth, possibly late teens. He wears a huge black wolf pelt, more warg, almost like its size as such. But as you get close, and he's got the long braided blonde hair of the Umberogan. As you get close, right up, you see that one eye is brown and one eye is bright blue. And he stares directly at you. Whether he's looking at you or just happens to be looking at something that you can't see, but you see the power that is inherent within his stare, and then you're back.
Right. Best you carry this, because it's too heavy for me. Let's. So this chamber, we'd already ascertained when we got there that they go off and Miles' other.
Yeah, this is it.
But it's the point of focus of interest was in these this part of where the orb was and where we were. I think we should get out of here. I think we should move out, because whatever created this edifice that we've just stopped and empowered it with the force that it was empowered by, that I've persuaded to go away, possibly might know about this and possibly wants to come and investigate. And that thing there's something more to it that we need to fathom. Should we get out of the certain trap?
You can easily make a trestle of some kind, something there, a framework of cloth, and you can then be able to wrap this over your back. You are aware that obviously all the material to be that is upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, commune with the spirits.
Mm.
Would they not be able to tell you if they're still here? Those that put it in there?
I can give it a go. It's not something I've normally used. Normally, I have the ability to commune with the creatures and animals, and that's normally how. But ventured, nothing gained. I don't think it's something that they would do, but I'll stop and I'm talking to the try and find the Jord.
Yep,
And this should be around here. We're in the middle of the earth.
absolutely, yeah.
And,
They're the dominant now. I don't think he knew it was Maggie. He was playing Pat, and it was
Right.
patting back, and I've all of that, and he suddenly went, oh, and cowered back.
Shouldn't have done that.
Oh, I thought that was Leah.
I could have lost 9
Right.
there if I was lucky. So, and I'm going to show them a picture of like hide and seek, and the picture is going to be of the big black orc, the hobgoblin, the small goblin, the statue with the big teeth, and sort of and entreat individual ones to hide and seek. See if you can find it. They're hiding. Can you find them and see if I can send them out to go and see if I can find them, and we'll do a hide and seek. So I'm trying to give them. It's like a game for them. So I'll start basically conducting again, moving them around and using the innate will to entreat them to do that. And see if there's anything within a distance. Not like go on forever, like go and find them, and they've gone for 3 weeks and they found them all. Just within the area we are, and it's a game. It's a game for them, so they can come back and.
There's a cop there.
All right.
We'll just wait for a couple of minutes for the catch up.
Oh, now it's appeared and it's up there.
Right, okay, so how do you perceive that they'll basically just react that if they find them, and then, because they can't put images per se into your mind, can they? Or is that something that they can do, or they just sort of direct you towards it, as in give you a concept?
Just the concept that they've found something
Yeah.
of these shapes, but each individual one gets the statue with the tusks. One gets so. At least I've got an idea of what's out there on them. We found them. We found what? 27 snotlings. Not bothered about that.
Right. Well, basically, you send them out. I take it at this point in time, you're just heading back up into the barracks so that you can put something together to carry the rock.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd stopped because I'd stopped.
Well,
where
you
I
do
was.
that. But it only takes you a couple of moments. It's, in that sense, and then you send them off.
Yep.
And they'll be able to track you back. They'll find out where you are.
Yeah, and we'll move when he
Yeah.
can carry the stone and try and create his backpack.
You right, so you get up there, you get the materials you need, and very quickly start putting something together. You can feel the disappointment in the jaw that are coming from the belt of the caves. They're all coming back, unable to make you happy effectively.
Yeah.
However, you get surprisingly luft spirits on the tails of some brand spirits that they come forward as if, a little bit slowish as they are, indicative that they found a stone statue from outside. But accompanied are the light, playful luft spirits who seem to try to let you know, say that they see silhouettes, shadows outside.
Okay.
But
Wait,
You're in the barracks.
we're in the barracks.
So we've come out of underground level. We're now back in the barracks. And so the love spirits are saying outside the hold, not in the barracks, outside the hold.
Outside.
Outside. Yeah, in the pass. There's shadows in the pass.
And they do manage to portray what they can see. They don't understand what they can see, but what you see is a white snow-covered area. However, there's an area where the snow and the wind doesn't pass, and they show a half semicircle of shadows looking towards the hold, and they're in the centre of this calm area where the snow and the wind do not pass.
All right.
And that's agitating the crap out of them because they're bounced off it.
Right. Well, I'm gonna get up to the outside. I want to have a look and see what we're talking about here because I've got a suspicion as to what it might be.
Are you going up into the main part of the tower, or are you just going to the front door and looking out down the stairs?
Which is the quickest way?
Straight to the door and look out down the stairs.
Well, yeah, but I mean, not like stand at the top going.
Oh.
Yeah, it'll be like
Yeah.
peak.
Well, so you crawl out over the battle. Remember the fallen dwarf and goblin bodies are here.
Yeah.
And you're still in the shadows, and you look outside, and you clearly see the snow and wind is hitting
A bubble.
a bubble of heat.
Right.
There is a full talon of Victoria, and they're in a semicircle. You know the tactic, with the left and right arms, and then they go outwards, so causing the enemy to go in.
So that shape.
Towards
To,
you.
to, it- yeah, to it,
Yeah.
so like it's a
Crescent.
it's a
towards
crescent towards you.
Yeah.
Right.
And in the centre, you see, though you can't sense the presence of Ubin.
Ubian.
Ubin. So he
Oh,
was
Ubin.
the,
All right,
so
yeah,
he was
yeah.
the
He-
unassociated, the unaffiliated.
Yes.
Um,
He seems very associated and affiliated now. Though.
Except you also note something that the Victoria do when ordered, and it's extremely rare because the Victoria are a show of strength, but a sign of sort of like talk of peace. It's normally done after a conflict, mainly when the Thuringians have had to be battled, or when approaching the Thuringians, and where a sign of strength doesn't benefit you. And the spears are thrust into the snow, tipped down.
Right. Are they moving or are they just
They're
stable?
standing. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
You can
And-
see obviously Ubin's thrown up, a protection against the elements of mountain.
Right. Okay.
And then on further inspection, you realise that he seems to be leaning heavily against the Thane,
The Thane of the Talon, not the Thane.
from your point of view.
Yeah.
You've got Busso,
Yeah.
but then whenever you're out with the Talon, whoever's in charge of the Talon
Is the Thane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Just was checking on that. Run!
If he's running,
Quick! I'll turn into
That's why you came back.
his new nickname is Caradak the Hummingbird. From my position where I am, I'm fairly certain they haven't spotted me, but I can't know for certain. I'm going to stop and use the mind contact at the all 7th eye, and I'm going to project it to Ubin, and just to say, Ubin, my friend, what brings you this distance out?
have you sort of turned away, or are you still watching as you do it?
Yeah, well, I'm presuming my presumption is they can't see me because I'm in the shadows, so it's like, sneaky
Yeah.
Pete, and I'm like, okay.
Because you don't actually have to see him to be able to do that. So I don't know if you'd sort of like turned away, and you were just communicating, with the, you turned.
No,
your
I'm
back.
keeping an eye on the Talon, basically, because
Okay.
these two aren't here, are they?
No.
Yeah.
So
So,
they don't even know why.
We don't know what's happening.
Yeah, you just walked
We're
off.
playing
So
tic-tac-toe or something.
and they've showed no curiosity to follow me at all. Well, I mean, he's busy,
working,
yeah.
You're probably just helping him get the materials
Yeah,
together.
Oh, he's just flapping.
He's just like an up and down the road.
He's just flapping. just dropping his arse.
Yeah. Oh, I'm in control of myself. I've never been in control of myself before. Give me something to do.
Don't like the betrayal of Caradak.
There's Caradak.
He's having a real moment.
Neither do I.
Uh-oh. Right, so
I'm
go on.
not.
Yeah, so I say I reach out and say, Ubin, my friend, it's been a long time and you've come a long distance.
There is absolutely no reluctance at you forming. If unannounced, you'd obviously have your natural protection, your mental fortitude, and there's that moment you always have to do like a top.
Yeah.
It's just a subconscious thing that you will do automatically. Just as somebody go, "Hi, it's me," and don't make them sort of like go, "Shield."
Yeah.
There's nothing. You enter straight in. He's exhausted, close to dropping. The last of his strength is holding the shield together, but you notice that on top of that he's also got a shielding spell.
Oh,
you
right.
know how tiring that could
Yeah,
be
yeah.
for you, never mind these guys. And he's close to collapsing. And you go, "How are you, friend?" It's almost, you feel like it's a thunderous roar in his head. And you feel his conscious thought retreats. You realise unconsciousness.
All right, so he's just passed
He
out.
just collapses as soon as you do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Owen!
Are you all right? Dust. Forget I'm too.
Lost spirits going.
Sometimes forget my own strength. Hello. Oh.
You're watching, obviously, and you just see him go, and the thing lowers him, tries to capture him, but he's holding most of his weight, but the sudden collapse was unexpected, and he lands in the snow. You see that the Thanes obviously lowers him down, and then gets his cloak, pulls it around, and wraps it over him.
I'll immediately take the shielding spell over the group
Right.
and project it to maintain that bubble for
Yeah.
them. So he's unconscious.
Absolutely, yeah. Pure exhaustion. He just retreats from you.
And the force shield or the stuff that, what's that to try and, what is there? Is it inclement weather? Is it pissing down with rain? Is it?
You remember the snow pass?
Yeah, is
When
it?
you were feeling how cold it was?
Yeah.
They literally just trying to stop him and his men from freezing to death. By the way.
So have they come down? How far are they from the front door? Are we talking?
Good. Well, you'd be outside of the spear throwing range effectively.
So
It's about
so when we came down from the upper pass,
50 feet.
we were fine down here. We're like, oh well, fine, relative being a relative term, but we didn't have to worry about
You
that.
spent the night in the cave, just a few hours. Well, you spent a few hours warming up in the cave
Yeah.
for a few hours, and then wandered down here. And this was definitely better than it had been in the past. These don't seem to have.
Stopped.
Yeah, well, you also had him, and he was taking you from place to place, and you were close to exhaustion. These guys don't have the benefit at all of knowing the mountains, and chances are they haven't had shelter since they entered
Right.
the mountains itself. God knows how, or nobody knows where they entered the mountains, how long they've been on your trail. But yeah, he's definitely, based on him and your quick connection with his brain, his mind. He's just exhausted from
Trying to
holding the
maintain-
shield,
Yeah.
and then they might have been standing out here for 3 hours.
Right.
Waiting for you to come out. There's definitely, they knew you were in there, and obviously it could be this simple. That was him just simply going, well, my guys are standing here in the snow for 3 hours not doing anything, because this is definitely we're not here to fight.
Yep.
And if he's been maintaining that, you might have just put that up there in the last few hours because you've been inside for a while,
Right.
and that was just too much at the end.
Okay. I'm gonna call for Caradak. Caradak, attend me.
Caradak.
I'll immediately
Run the other way.
Dump the rock on his foot. Bang!
Yeah.
Runs off down the tunnel.
Yeah, straight down the tunnel and starts heading towards one of the, any exit at all. Just run, and to get lost in the catacombs.
Straight in the cold lava.
They'll never follow me here.
Getting hot up.
Yep.
You run to the door.
I run to the door.
You see him standing half in shadow, well, all in shadow,
Yeah, yeah.
peering. Got a distinct look of not
I'll
wanting
peer
to
around,
do it.
peer around and have a look.
Right, again, so you see a full talon, talon plus the commander of a set talon. You recognise his name is Thorvald, and he is standing over a form that a cloak is over. You can't tell who the person on the floor is.
That was, sorry, that the seventh was Ubin, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Ubin. He's a Soviet.
Absolutely, yeah.
What are we dealing with here, Ulmakor? And where are we looking at?
What do you know of this? These Bacteria? Were they were they more than loyal to? I forgot the name of the other thing. Busa. Are they his chosen, or?
No, but what I do know is Bacteria are loyal to the cause, and we're unaware what that cause is, as I am loyal to you.
But the signification of the spears down suggests parley.
Yes.
I mean, you know as well as, you know better than him that the only time that would ever happen is if the Seventh Eye actually explicitly ordered them to do it, because no Seventh Eye would ever put his spear down on the ground and give rid of, even for a moment, drop his offence, stroke defence capabilities, combat effectiveness.
The Vaxari, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Seventh Eye is a specific order. There's no thing is ever, without being told specifically by a Seventh Eye, no thing is ever given this order. It's a Seventh Eye order.
We're going to go and be prepared. We've shown over signs of hostility towards this Talon, but we need to we'll need to speak to them. But we be aware this could go wrong very fast. And at that point, we may have to exit quite fast. What's the dwarf doing?
He's preparing the rock.
Has he got much more to do, or?
No. He's done. He's here.
All right. Is he?
Right? So you've got the straps and across where the rock sits across the centre of your weapon harness. So you can easily get your weapons out, but it'll sit comfortably on your upper shoulders, not lower back, and it's tight against your back. You put some padding in there, not that you care too much, but what's the point of having a rock digging through a muscle? So you've got it in a position where you know that you can eat up the miles.
Can you still function with that weight, Master Dwarf?
Yep.
All right.
He doesn't seem to be weighted down at all.
Encumbered at all. Right. Oh, don't have to roll for the encumbrance.
2,500, but that doesn't even make sense. What? You can carry 4 elephants.
What? That's ridiculous.
4 elephants.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Made
Many
of
pounds in actual elephant.
made of depleted uranium, because that's how heavy they are for such a small space. That makes no sense. Oh, check page 47. Right. You ready?
Ready.
Right. We'll step out of the shadows, as it were, and stride purposely within a certain distance, like within shouting distance, or at least raised voice distance.
You're definitely within instant killing range of any Vaktori worthy assault by the time you get to the bottom of the stairs.
But
You'd have to be aware of that. You've got a chance of them getting slightly, possibly, maybe missing.
Yeah.
But as you get to there, you realise getting to the bottom of the stairs, there's easily 12 javelins are going to find that one. You know that. It's an absolute guaranteed killing range.
but as the
But I mean,
Well, we're keeping a close eye on it.
I was going to say, gauging their
They make a
intent.
move.
But you specifically are going, we have a diminishing chance of return. The moment we step out of this this room, by the time we get to the bottom of the stairs, we're dead. If they decided to, if it's an ambush, you ain't coming out of this. So you can obviously whisper that, or maybe you just don't want them to be worried.
Right.
But either way, you're obviously you're keeping up the shield, but not the warmth shield, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You're just the scrying shield.
Yep.
So you pass by the point of no return and instant death if they so wish it, and they've not shown any. They literally are looking straight at you. Effectively, they're standing not at you, but so they're looking straight ahead. The spear is out of grip in the snow. Yep. Unlike him, they don't carry swords. They've got a shield, got the helm, full armor, cloak. The spear is at arm's reach in the ground, so they can't get to him easily enough, or instant. That's the whole point. And they're looking at each other, like I say, in a semicircle, like so. And at its depth is Thane, and he stands as he sees you and takes on a position of salute, staring right at you as you walk over. And you two are aware of a prone form under a cloak. The snow is now suddenly. The other thing as well, you notice that they didn't seem to be covered in snow, even though there's snowing. But you now see that the snow is now starting to land on them, strange enough. Quickly, you can see it soaking into the softness, the body heat of the cloak of the person, whoever is on the ground, who you know.
Yeah. So as when I'm in hailing distance, as it were, when I get close enough so that I can hear above the sound of the howling wind and whatever, I'll call over to and shout, Thorvad, your master looks like he needs shelter. May I invite you to take shelter and bring your master into this hold?
Thank you, Senator. He clicks his fingers. The ones nearest, they're grabbing the shields, spears. 4 closest immediately grab. He's talking, obviously, you just can't hear him. And those ones that are picking up the prone form, the Silvet, their spears are picked up by the warriors, by the other warriors. As the Thane moves forward, the 4 is a litter, effectively are carrying the prone form, and then as he passes by each soldier, each Victoria falls in by until they're a line leading towards you, towards the steps.
We'll turn around and head up the steps into the chamber, which is obviously still the full battle area. Is there anywhere in here where there was all the metal was taken out, but is there plenty of wood around, or anything?
So there's stone
Or
pits so the outer
wooden doors? They'd gone, hadn't they? No, the steel.
The steel is gone. So there's they're all wooden doors. The barracks have some stone plinths that are carved into it, which would be bent. But obviously they would have mattresses on normally. They've gone. But mainly anything with metal has. But there are some timber doors.
Is there anything that's combustible?
Yeah. You're covered in litter and all kinds of stuff like that.
Right. Okay.
They basically wanted the metal itself, and whatever was in it. But very quickly, what I want to say is, in the back of your mind, you become aware of it. Just a sort of a narrowing of the eyes. The statue at the very tip of the stairs, it's almost as if it must be giving off some kind of heat. Whereas the snow lands on any cold surface and stays, it seems to, you see it decidedly melting. As if there's
It's
some heat
warm.
coming off of
Yeah,
it
it's warm.
until as enough snow is landed on it that it starts to build up. But you can see that of all of them, it's not just that the snow is falling off. They're all top of the helmet, the shoulders, which are very broad and square. There's a distinct. It's not a huge amount of heat, but there's definitely heat coming off, and it melted the snow.
Right.
And then you.
And then we
turn
pass.
the head in.
Yeah. Okay. But we're aware of that. Okay. So the stage is to gather some combustibles.
Yep.
And we'll.
Well, there is a main fire near the
Pit.
because you've got the main, yep. So
Yep.
that's well, no, forget about the barracks which got its tunnel.
Yeah.
There is actually a proper kitchen. There's a furnace. So the furnace, the metal of the pot and all that has been removed. But there's a distinct flue. There's a furnace in there. There's
A flume for
area
where you can put it,
separate.
where you can set a fire if you wish.
Exactly.
Right. Well, so it's basically a hole because they've taken off the flume itself. So we'll pack as much combustibles in there, and we'll get a fire going for Uben.
Okay.
And I'm maintaining the shield in terms of scrying, but of course in here they don't have to worry about the wind getting in because it's. And once we get enough combustibles going, what we normally do with fires? Has they been making fires? Has Grim been making fires, or has it been down to me?
Well, when the conditions were bad enough, you had to
Right,
had to encourage it, but the physical building of fires would have been either one of them.
Right, well, get a striker going and start that fire. Let's get.
How
let's-
well do
You know them by name.
I know Thorvald?
Thorvald.
Thorvald, yeah.
Well, he was of similar rank to you.
Right. Okay.
When I say similar rank, remember you had a rank that was beyond that
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
norm, so you were not a Thane of your own talent.
Yeah.
He's a Thane, so technically he outranks you, but you've never had any problems with the man. You've had some dice, but he was part of a different talent, therefore he was just someone that you fought alongside. You recognise them all as people that you fought alongside. They're all recognisable. And something that he wouldn't have picked up, you definitely do, is every one of them is carrying recent injuries.
Right.
All of them. You can see scarring, some armour's been damaged or removed, weapons are chipped. You see that they have all shown signs of being involved in a serious fight and battle. In fact, on close inspection, as they trump in, some of them are missing pieces of armour. A shin guard, a gauntlet, a shield. And you also note something else. Not one of them has dyed their hair, and all of them have now got at least 4, maybe longer weeks worth of growth on their face. Something that would never be allowed as a standard. And they all look haunted. And these are all veterans of many battles, many fights. They've got to look. You have to take what I'm saying as only certain bits, like generic. That's a group of people that have been in the fight. You get the more detail, right? So you can't go, you know to shave. They're all these are all veterans of battles, and yet something is obviously happening that is stretched them to thin, and they also look somewhat undernourished.
The statue that was down below,
Mm-hmm.
he broke it, didn't he, just by pushing it over?
The one inside the cavern, yeah.
Yep.
Well, do I notice it's melting snow around it?
You wouldn't care enough to notice, no. And you don't know any better, so you wouldn't notice. You just, even then, you don't know necessarily what it means.
It was just like, oh.
You see everything.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's not. And I'm not drawing any conclusions by the fact that it's slightly warmer. We get the fire going. There's
This place isn't going to have any rations or food or anything like that, is it?
You didn't bother looking.
Well, I'll have a look. Cause,
Well,
I'm
we'll ask.
concerned for the talent, because obviously,
So you go looking into.
Yeah.
You know where the kitchens are. This is a standard fortified build. Every watchtower is exactly the same time.
Well, he's a dwarf, so I'm first point be asking him go.
And
where
when
to
it-
get the food.
When he's asked that, I'll say, Thorfad, if you want to detail a couple of men to go with the dwarf, if there's any food around here, he'll know where it is, and he can bring it back for the men. And we've got a fire going, at least to take some sustenance. And while that's going on, because I want you... You're not going off there to go and look for food and I'm all by myself. No. And then we can talk. We can talk about what's transpired, because clearly there's a tale to tell. And we can, once we've got Uben situated...
Yeah. Well, at this point, you actually, for a person that sees everything, you've missed things that are beneath you, to a certain degree. Things that have got no mystery. You now can't. You sort of go. You've all got beards.
Yeah.
That's different because he's not.
Yeah.
He's still finding the time to clean shave. And you note the lack of anointing oil to show that they're all one person, all sort of stuff.
And
And then you start noticing them.
they're all dented. Yeah, like
disarray, and they're all carrying injuries. As you say that, and he looks, and he doesn't snap to attention. He's not, he's exhausted. Now, exhausted himself. He's nursing injuries that have been badly healed, and he's sort of like, as he's overseeing Uber being put down before the fire. He's sluggish as he stands up. Yes, 7th Eye, of course, he details, he goes, Ulf, Einar, Helgi, on. You already said 2, didn't you?
Details cement. Yeah.
Sends inside.
He sends, he mentions the 4, he has 4 very quick, accompany the Dawi, and you see them like, yes then, and then, there was a moment, you could see that moment of, right,
I'm happy to sit down for a bit.
right, and then they leave their spears. That's just a no. No matter what, they'll find a way, but these guys are putting their spears down, and you notice every single one of them is missing their weapon harness.
The weapon harness being what the where they
The spear can be attached to so that they can stand there with their arms free. There's certain hooks on it, they can put scabbards on it, they can add bows and arrows.
okay.
None of them are wearing their battle harnesses. That's all. They've literally strapped on, looks like they've strapped on whatever armour, but to a man they're not carrying full complement of kit at all. 4 of them, these people.
Take them to the kitchens.
Right, okay, yep, you head through.
Then show them where it is now. Once they've got the stuff, take them back. I do a quick search on the fort.
Okay.
See what's happened.
So
we hadn't done that, had we, when we first got here?
No, we
Trying
went
to-
straight downstairs
to the hole.
to the lava pit.
that's not normal!
Oh, yeah. Let's go straight down there. 60,000 orcs will win. Later.
So well, obviously it doesn't take steps, and you step out of the best hall, which is the main muster point, and you head take them towards the kitchens and the pantry, effectively the stock room.
Larder.
Larder, yep. Leaving you very quickly alone.
Right.
In a room of people.
Well, us two.
Yeah, you two plus the Thane,
And-
9 other Victoria and an unconscious Sobit.
Yeah.
So very much alone. In a crowded room.
Running out full-time cruise.
Yeah. I'm just going to go and check that this they've done the dusting and the. Where's that dog? So again, addressing Thorvald. Thorvald, what's transpired?
7th Eye, I find it hard to put into words. Didn't see that the rest of the Victoria are close to collapse, and they're struggling to stand it. Full attention as they always must.
And it's like, right, everyone, sit, relax.
They look towards Thorvald as you say that, and that should be enough. You say relax, but there is something different. You can see that there's an edginess, not just a blind. We do what we are told. But bear in mind that the Victorian rarely have, they're not sacrificed as such, but they know that if they're injured, they can, it's up to them to live.
But the reaction is not what I'm used to. I'm used
The
to.
Victorian do have a fair confidence around the cemetery. If you point us at something, we kill it, and then we step back and we don't talk to you, and we'll get to live, and enjoy our lives to a certain, to the way they're brought up. There's an edginess towards you. They look towards Thorvald. It's just a moment, and Thorvald, you see him just give this sort of nod, and they go, and you can feel them relax. But none of them. It's beyond just sort of an authoritative figure. It's this fear, which the Victorian don't generally. Well, you know that they're fearless for a start,
Yeah.
but they don't generally have. When it comes to you, they can be. When it comes to Semnathai, it can be. They do what they're told. There's no genuine sort of like a fear, aggression, anger. It's all mixed in. You can see that. You just feel it coming off them.
All right, okay.
Thorvald continues as sort of rolls the cloak back. You can see that unlike the body language towards you, towards Uber, is protective and more than just almost the same level of feeling of protection that you get when he's around. Like it is important to them that he lives. Some weeks back, there was a slaughter. Something changed on the hill. Buso and fully half of the Victoria turned. On the other half, there was a slaughter. Vakhtari fought the Vakhtari. Few of us escaped. We hid off in the Great Forest, and Uber managed to find us. We are all of different talons, and he's brought us together and brought us south.
What of the other Semnothai that was?
I can't tell you.
Were they a part of the slaughter, or did they take part in the slaughter?
No, it was Buso and
Just Buso by himself.
the
And
Vakhtari that
Loyal to him.
are loyal to him, that swore that war was new.
and no sign of any Semnothai.
No.
Was this a single attack, or did it go on for did it happen in minutes, or was it over? Or
We were all, those that were not out on patrol, were in the barracks, as we are meant to be, or in training. Those of us like myself and these men here were in various different, were on the outskirts of the town for whatever reason, outside the hill for whatever reason, and we heard the screams, we ran forward, and it was a slaughter. They were fully armoured and prepared, and they just attacked without warning, without thought, with Buso at the front.
And so presumably you made your escape from the massacre, and you said you were met in the forest or outskirts or outside of the.
I managed to get a few of the men together when Uber came forth. Soviet.
Yeah.
Soviet Uber came forward into the forest, and he seemed to be able to find us. He gathered what he could. We were in greater number, and we were attacked. The Beastkin or the Vakhtari together sometimes, somehow in alignment. It was a long, fraught escape. Many of us still fell. We are literally all that remains. We have lost some in the mountains. All the while, the Soviet said that we must meet up with you.
And have the Uso's men been harrying you all the way through the mountains as well, or has that stopped?
No, the attacks stopped at the foothills of the mountains themselves.
And
I believe that the Soviet was protecting us somehow.
And is Ubin the only was the only Semnothai that you saw, or
Yes.
so it's just a constant attack? Is it constant attack by other Vakhtari
And Beastkin
and Beastkin?
working together. It makes no sense. We've slaughtered them since I was a child. They've always been the enemy of man, yet
Sadly,
bands of Beastkin and Vakhtari.
sadly thought that it's making more and more sense when it comes to Buso, and sadly when it comes to Ingvar, it is becoming more and more obvious. What was told about myself and Caradak whilst you were still, before this occurred, were we painted in a particularly good light?
I'm hesitant to speak openly, Soviet. There's
Let me take it over. I suspect what you were told is that myself and Caradak were some sort of traitor to the Semnothai and should be hunted.
Buso made it clear that Caradak was an enemy of Vakhtari and the Semnothai. That any doubt gave him, and he was on the run, anyone that gave him protection was the lowest form. We understood that he had murdered you.
Interesting. And this came from Buso or from other Semnothai?
And Buso, sorry, apologies, Soviet, but the Semnothai don't speak to us.
But you never heard. I know. I'm also aware that Semnothai have conversations in the presence of Vakhtari.
The last few months have seen
He's found us! Run!
over the last few months there has been a certain movement of Vakhtari, those that were more inclined towards Buso's way of doing things and thinking were allowed to be within the fortifications. And over time those talents that were more traditional were on the outside.
Right.
We have had little to no interaction with the Soviet or the Semnothai at all. 2 days before the attack, the Zakanik returned to the hill.
Zakanik from where?
All of them.
All the Zakanik. All.
All the Zakanik. We saw them come in, each with their Vakhtari retinues. some of those Victorias, some were taken within the walls, some were dispersed outside. There was some gathering at the peak with the Visox tent. The Zakanik, the Soviet, all summoned together. It was not long after this, the next evening, that the attacks came.
Rest.
It's always
Rest. And I'll shout, Grim, have you found that food yet? I'll just shout out.
you did.
You should have brought it back by now.
Yeah. They're just in the... there's nothing there. Just this one grape.
You found a fully stocked order. It wasn't that they were not found. It's just
Not interested.
Ruskins have no appetite for this sort of stuff. It is fully stocked.
He found us.
It comes back again. It's fully stocked.
Scrains.
Everything. Literally, there's obviously some kind of discipline as well. Only what was absolutely needed. And it was mainly metal. It just doesn't make sense because you think even the wines and the ales, not wines, the ales would have been taken. Nothing has been touched. The door was unmolested. You've got a fully stocked garrison. I mean, there's not a chef's delight here. But there's
It's dwarf bread. Oh, not dwarf bread. Anyone got any of the rat milk?
but there's cured meats, cooked obviously. There's dwarf ale. Yeah, it's well stocked, untouched, unmolested. Rices, there's wheat for bread. Dwarf bread.
Right.
That's a rock. Another rock? No, that's bread.
That's dwarf bread. How you eat it? We have dwarf.
That's how you cook it.
Oh, spicy.
Dwarves have got quite a rough tongue, like a cat.
That's how we get our salt.
Just like licking it.
Rock ice.
Yeah, the
Provision yourselves. I'm maintaining the shield, the bubble over us, over all of us.
Yeah.
And I'll just say to Thorvald, and your master looks exhausted. Has he taken any injury, or is it mainly?
No.
Right. I'll walk over, and obviously I'm not making any, but I'm used to. I'm not expecting him to do anything because not only am I Soviet, but I'm Ulmakor. So, and I'll go up towards him and go and have a look and bend down to see if there's any mark on him and whether he's just unconscious or whether he's just passed out or whether
passed out, sleep. Deep sleep, deep breathing. He's exhausted. Just
right.
He's been mentally and physically drained. You know that you can invigorate him.
Yeah.
If needs be. Or just let him naturally sleep. But based on this, naturally you could be asleep for 12 or plus hours.
You have to wait.
That patient.
Yeah. Just get out the old taser. Oh, you're awake!
It's all natural, like. I mean, he's obviously got this. He is your rank.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's unconscious, so
You outrank him at the moment because
Yeah.
he can't defend himself.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm just doing this to show who's boss. I'm invigorating him. That's not what it looks like.
That's how we do it.
So yeah. I'm just giving him the essence.
You bring forward water. I mean, you're in a snowstorm, so you can get water from the outside. You know from your workings with humans that to keep them away from the dwarf ale. There's no, it's fire water.
Yeah, we're talking dwarf spirits from
Like
like
crazy.
gully dwarf spirits, like that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay.
3
3 parts petrol, 1 part like meths.
Yeah. But the food's
4 days out.
Yeah.
there's plenty of food, so obviously you can oversee that side of things.
Put big necks in the dwarf beer.
Poison.
Don't touch this. It's,
Don't say that's dwarf drink. You can't have it because they'll go.
a challenge.
You go. That's poison. I'm not drinking that. We had dwarves keep poison in their food line. We'll always remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they go, she has a ham and she has a drink. He's trying to poison us.
Yeah. Kill him. And so began the war between which lasted all of 40 minutes.
I get all the water skins filling it up.
With poison.
Yeah, like
It's all right. The dwarves carrying all the water. Shit, didn't that there either. So yeah, the heat permeates the room. They feed. And you can see that they feed like disciplined men do. They don't gorge themselves. They take in small amounts. They take on water. And David, basically, he said, Eggle, Oleg, on duty. My lord, is there any other ways in and out of here that we need to be aware?
Grim, other than the front door, which has obviously been piled in, have we got any other entrances and exits that we should be aware of that's we should post a watch at?
Barracks. And I was looking around before I got called up. So.
Certainly a guard at the front opening. As you can see from the mess in here, the carnage, there's something's been through here and it may come back. That's why we're on high alert.
The chamber, the barracks.
It's all in the back room. So we
That
sent
was
Eggle to the
broken
front.
from the tunnel.
From here downwards.
Yeah.
So we put Eggle at the door and Oleg to the barrack room. They're not big places.
No, I was just checking to see if there was like any.
You check all the rooms.
No other like dug tunnels or broken in.
It's fully secure and defensible.
Okay.
Barring the huge big open door and
Yeah.
And there's no other exit?
No.
One way in, one way out. So it's a trap, basically.
It's a watchtower. They're never meant to leave. They stand there. They hold. It's a dwarf mental thing. They don't
Mentality,
retreat.
yeah.
Mentality. They don't retreat. They don't make a run for it. And it's a watchtower, so no doubt it's actually got a fully stocked fire on the tip, which is to be lit, and obviously that would be picked up by the nearest holes. But they're never meant to leave. They're here until their garrison comes to relieve them.
Right.
So I'll check up top as well
Yeah.
because I'm.
The oil's there, the unlit brazier. They didn't get a chance to.
So no corpses going up there.
No. They died in the door. The attack was so absolute and sudden. It took out an entire garrison of dwarfs. You can see the dead that that killed them, but there's nowhere near enough dead greenskins for the amount of dead dwarfs. And yes, the Black Oak from the hill, if that was involved, that could have definitely have had. It was definitely worth a number of clansmen, but there doesn't seem to be enough enemies for that many slain dwarfs. But the dwarfs are pretty much accounted for as a full garrison.
Right, okay. So they need to feed. I'll have that conversation with Thorfad. I'll be to have a look and see how Ubin's doing. He's obviously just asleep, but he's not sporting any injuries as
Not
you.
that you can see.
Okay. Right. And I'll just say to Thorvad, Thorvad, you've got your men positioned. I need to speak to Ubin. I need to wake him.
Ubin's appearance is that of someone that isn't used to living on the flight, living rough for about a month, in less than ideal circumstances.
So he's more sedentary. He's more. He would be more like the Soviet who doesn't go out on patrols like me. So
Unique.
soft towny dragged out in the wilderness.
Yeah.
Is really suffering here, and that's part of it. So he's definitely. I'll use the term saddle sore, but he's obviously not. But he's like foot sore. He's just been dragged out. Like, oh, we're going for a route march. While maintaining his shield. Yeah. All right. I'll lay hands and start the process of invigorating and providing energy to basically bring him out of his slumber, from his exhaustion, to bring him some level.
Well, in doing so, the Bactori, those that aren't on guard duty, they retire to, out of this experience, the way that the soldiers fall in with, there's a barrack room. And they go into the barracks and wrap themselves in clothes. Start going to sleep. Thor is the last one. And when you dismiss him, reluctantly, he steps out of the room. So you are in the main
Chamber.
Yeah. Tables.
Except for the two guys on
So one guy's down there on the other front door, and the other one's in the barrack room where they're all asleep anyway, but at the tunnel entrance.
Right.
You are in this room by yourself.
Right.
Okay. It is the largest room it's the base of the tower. Technically the room above is the same size. Sort of. It gets smaller.
Yeah.
But this is the main dining area, the main muster area. And that's where the main fire was that you banked up. So there's just you two there and you.
So the mood hasn't been affected by the stone when I've been round them.
No.
No.
You've got them heavily wrapped up in cloth and strapped to your back.
Yeah. So I'll see if I can start. Well, obviously I'm going to talk to Ubin and see what's going on. You two can dispose of your time as you see fit. We obviously haven't eaten as well. We just got straight here. So when you're making your own food, I'd like some myself and some for the server as well. So just put a couple of plates down beside us, and I'll talk to them. And you two can do. You can do whatever you want. I'm not interested in it at the moment. I want to speak to.
Are you giving them the impression that whatever they do, it's not going to be here, so like sort of, or they can stay here? Will they have that impression that they can stay if they wish?
They can stay if they wish. I'm just saying, bring me some food when you're getting your own, and bring some for the server. And I'm basically saying,
He still thinks he's in the enclave, doesn't he? He's carrying on here.
all habits die hard.
He waits till he's in the kitchen before.
Yeah.
He says Caradak
Well,
in the kitchen.
he's the one that's building up 2 plates for the server, because you know, you got to.
Yeah. Oh,
He still thinks he's in the enclave. Does he think he is?
Yeah.
And you know, the dwarf completely ignores any sort of such, do this. And he always does it.
Yeah. Any of you can do this? Yeah, okay.
It's always him.
One of you two. Thinks
So he
he's
comes back.
la-di-da.
Do you know it's been worse for me since I left the enclave?
You just need structure in your life at the moment. All the fetters have been taken away, and I think it's judged by your panic attack.
You run along.
You know,
Away
When you
from
come back
the
to the
sword.
plates and the dwarf goes thanks and takes them off you and starts eating from them, you then go back, hit more. By the time you get back, you can see Ruben is sitting up. You've brought him around. After his initial, that moment, literally as you're leaning over him and you just slowly reach out and you start pushing energy in, he actually wakes up going, like trying to slap your hands away for that moment. He's sort of, whoa!
Yeah.
And you've never seen a so of it. It's just
so discombobulated.
yeah. And then he sort of relaxes. When you've led that, he's sort of even trying to pull away from you, and he sits up against against one of the benches, and you miss all that. You're sort of aware of it, but looking over your food like,
Making food preparation number 4.
you come in with your
Just doing some
serving.
sauteing some mushrooms and like, oh my god, I can't believe it.
Sit there with some truffles.
Yeah, like,
over the
just
side,
over the top, like a bit of
right,
ginger. Oh yeah.
and just start some of those.
Fennel leaf over the top. And then he goes, just right back in again, right? Oh, just
Fish.
flicking it off. Hate you. Too much
Extra
salt.
Mark the spot.
Got any ketchup? Ketchup!
Yes,
So, yeah,
yes, my lord.
Yeah.
Glug, glug, glug.
You come back with your 3 plates.
Semnithai, you're awake.
Obviously, you hand him a plate.
Yeah.
He looks at you and then looks at him, but he seems to be too exhausted to sort of go.
How dare you? How very dare you?
Yes, the enemy brings you food.
Takes you see he's going through the motions, but there's even someone that's obviously starving. He must be hungry. He's emaciated by the journey. His appetite seems to be less. There is a haunted look in his eyes that you've never seen in any Zakanic creatures generally. Soviet. But even the Sakanics themselves, the ranks below them, that will find themselves sometimes on the wrong end of a knife. They don't get a haunted look because they don't get to
Get
live through
haunted.
it.
Yeah.
So
Tends to be sunny times and then dead.
Yeah. There's a look of fear,
Yeah.
which is different from haunted. But you can see there's definitely fear there. He takes the plate off you. There is literally just a moment look of... And it doesn't seem to be that he's been addressed. Semnithai, you're alive. Or you're awake. Being addressed as such. He's not even... That's not a double take because of that. It is like... And then just...
Why not? Why not? Absolutely, of course. The killer is here serving me food. Of course.
Yeah.
I'm dead. I'm already dead. This is the afterlife.
Bollocks. Fuck it.
I died somewhere in the mountains.
I want to try my food.
For some reason, my
Just interrupt the stone a little bit.
just for some reason, my spirit's now going to haunt wherever the hell this place is. Great, great.
Wet, cold, and the Soviet killer's here. Brilliant.
As you can see, I did not kill my Soviet. From your look, I guess that's what you think. However, I did kill a Semnithai.
Caradak, I don't think now's the time. I don't think now's the time to be.
That time looks and he goes,
I don't think we
That
need.
was a Zakanic.
I don't think we need to regale him with this part. Why don't
And he
you?
deserved it.
Why don't you go over and
Threw me into a fire with it.
see if the guys on the just talking to them. See if the guys on the front door and on watch need any food as well. That probably would be a good idea. Do you not think? I think it's a great idea. So you do that.
course.
Back in the kitchen, cutting flowers out of broccoli to make sure, like, oh yeah, that's great.
Tomatoes in the crown.
Oh,
God.
now we're angry cooking.
Really sharp angles to the.
Angry cleaning soon. We just
We're walking past. Really sweeping that floor.
with an apron on.
You missed the orc there.
Feet!
Flick.
yeah. Moving on time.
He appears out of nowhere and really angrily, perfectly stitches some of the actual damage to the center of the thighs. Nice little badge. Some purple filigree. I see your hood's a bit tall.
I'm not going to peel these grapes. He's just like, eat it with the skin on them. These grapes aren't peeled. Angry grapes.
You go about your business.
I'm Caradak.
Checking on the sentries doing the job. You sit in the corner ripping meat off the bone and drinking dwarf ale. He eats casually. He drinks sparingly before putting his plate. You obviously, I assume, wait for him to get something.
Yeah, like that. And I can't hear you.
Of course, inspection. You know, he's got this just unkempt look about him. You know, the beard hasn't been groomed. You know, he's been sleeping rough. There's everything about this is wrong, and it just further emphasises that something beyond
Well,
the
it's
horror
clear.
that you've already been told.
Yeah.
And you wait for him to feed, to eat as best you can.
To feed.
Oh, leg!
I'm just thinking like the mace opens up in three like.
I think that's all. Do I look like that?
I haven't been.
I've been around many Semnithai.
Been to the seventh eye tent.
I've never once saw that.
Entire like almost like Asterix type ball. Okay, don't remember that.
We'll let that pass.
He's totally oblivious of it because at that moment he turned around.
Yeah. The dog's like the plate.
Caradak, I said get him some food.
The dog's like.
He turned around Caradak and just
Calls
laid it.
him the orc god.
I felt certain he was alive. What happened? He succumbed to his injuries. What injuries?
Axe to the face. Yeah, he had that when he came in.
Did he?
Clean sheath. I lost this one.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, just a rock. It's the healing rock.
you're like this going, and all you see is flashing light. Flash.
What's going on? There must be some sort of magical like. It's like the spirits. The spirits are trying to tell me something.
Smoke shadows like.
Makes no sense. It's like straight out of a disco.
I'm sure that would look like that was Caradak holding a seminary thigh while the dwarf braided his head in with a light switch. A light rock.
Boom, bing, boom, bing, boom, bing.
Go back. No, that doesn't heal.
Apparently it's not transferred over. I thought by putting it in force it might transfer. Heal.
That would be the worst murder ever, wouldn't it? Or the most brutal killing ever. Every time you brain his head splits and then heals immediately as you pull the rock away.
It's like it's not working.
You're braining his skull in with a healing rock.
Okay, just push.
You've got the club that will make it effective.
You're breaking skull in.
47 times! I'll give up at the end. Yes.
It would be the best kind of torture, that.
Bang! Ah! Ooh! Ah! Ooh, ah!
What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit you with this healing rock.
I think you're using it wrong.
Yeah.
Oh,
You can't leave the arena until you're dead. Here's the healing rock.
Healing rock. Yeah, so he's sitting on the floor, back to a wall, doesn't even try to stand up, try to take a seat. He's effectively more pushing the food along, though he does take small mouthfuls. But he's looking into the fire. He looks at you for a moment, but he's in the, just for a moment he's looking at the fire, but you know he's addressing it. I always knew you had more power than us. Without even looking at this, are you really the son of Tal? What can you see that we can't? I was always jealous of the ease you achieved your results, your rise to Soviet, the friendship of Godric. Takes more food. While the rest of us, we scrabble in the dirt. More story than mastery. You seem to be able to do what the 7th Eye of Old did. You realise he's telling a tale. He's
Right.
trying to get to a point. He's not asking you directly.
No.
Answer
There's more monologuing.
Yeah, I have the masteries as I was taught. I know the laws of Tal and his wife Rhea. I know the fury of Ulrich the brother. I mastered the old teachings of the forbidden gods, Mor, Varenna, and their children of the south. But you always seem to be able to do those rituals with such ease.
Oh, right. Everyone settle down wherever well. More.
The teachings of the old Semathai tell us that we brought the great tribes of man to this very pass to escape that great threat. We were advisors then to the greatest and the lowest alike. While we sought harmony with the natural in all of its planes and manifestations, we sought spiritual pursuits that could affect the physical world with such spectacular, those secondary ways. Though we have some influence, some power that others don't, I've realised that we do not wield the old power like you do. We do not have the power of the 7th Eye of old. They spoke of the great light that stands behind the gods, with each of them dedicating their lives to a chosen form. Are you truly the son of Tal, Ulmakor?
Ubin, my friend, I never hid the fact that I am the son of Tal. Or rather, I never addressed it. Some say, some believed. I never thought it was necessary to actually entertain those. It was easy just to let people talk. But it is true.
That answers the question that's always been on my mind, how you do things that we say we can do just to keep the masses in check. But you did it, you achieved it. You were doing things that...
Don't show fear. If you show fear, go for
That
your fear.
was rather fast, really direct.
Like straight up. Really?
Wait there.
If that was Maggie, we'd all even jump off the
Yeah.
cover.
Is it tasty?
I must tell you of Godric. After Godric perished in the fire, Ingvar summoned the remaining Soviet and the Zakonik back to the Fornam Ur.
Leaving the tribes without direction.
This is so. He summoned us all when everyone had arrived. Not all came. The new Umborogan, I don't think word got to him. When we'd all convened, he stood in the centre and he made us surround him. By his feet, he had the scorched corpse of Godric. He'd said that you had manifested your power, you had stolen into the night, that you had somehow shielded the Slayer, and that he had entered and killed Godric in his sleep. And that you burned the body down, your actual rival, your murder. Then he invoked the Dangare.
Says, quickly getting his...
Dangare.
Oh, yep.
To bring forth his spirit from the realm of Mor. You know that such a powerful magic needs all of us. We were all linked at that point.
I also know that it's not something that we ever countenance for very good reasons as well. We don't interfere in Mor's realm. Certainly not through that ritual.
Things have changed. In the lead up to this, Ingvar had become crazed. Something had taken Buso. Buso was something far worse. Afgrim had said that when he had led the Bactari with Buso into the great forest of the Brackenvash, he said that he saw Buso do things that were fearsome. Afgrim came back, failed. He had lost face. He was still Silver True, but barely. We all knew Afgrim was no longer Fae Valvin. But as you say, the ritual, though dark, like most rituals, we expected nothing to happen. Whereas you casually just think of these rituals as a success. They don't. Nothing happens. We chant, and we say the gods talk, but it's up to us, up to Ingvar's direction, or us individually. It's up to the Zakanik to tell the story, to pass that information. Long have we lost the true power of the Umwad. But this time, you can see fear, just in his reflection in his eyes.
It worked.
Something spoke back. And Ingvar named this fell creature Govat. Govat. Herald of the great conspirator, the changer of ways. Flux embodied. He claimed that all who profess to worship the northern gods, he claims all who profess to worship of the northern gods, for without transformation a warrior cannot ascend to greatness, the gods cannot grant blessings, and his eyes, already distant, haunted, seem to sink into his tired face, which shadows the horror of this obvious memory. The living cannot die. Gorvat named his dark master Sineth.
Sineth.
Gorvat named his dark master Sineth in the Dark Tongue, the Lord of Change. Ulmakor, it's his halls that the Semnethai dead are taken, fall into madness and insanity, to serve him for all eternity, not more. A low moan escapes Uman before he seems to collapse in on himself. He hugs his legs close, like a child in the dark. His gaze is cast down to the floor. He takes some time to control his weakness before he can continue. To the barbarians of Norsca, he is the Raven God. In the dreaded east, he is Chen the Deceiver. Into the Kurgan tribes, his messengers are the great condors of the steppes. While we have lost our power over the centuries, we make the tribes worship the false gods through us. The far north have grown strong Ulmakor. The Changer is one of 4 brother powers that they have discovered, and now they look to these lands to conquer. The savage northern tribes have grown numerous, and it won't be long before then ravenous hordes descend. And what do we have? Disparate kings grown weak, their hatred for each other strong no more than under Ingvar. We have led our people into ruin and death. Their worship of false names pale in comparison to the fear they hold us. Gorvat brought forth Godric's torn soul, Ulmakor, and he bound it within a gem, and he named this gem Andam Eld. Through this gem, Ingvar learned of your plans, as Godric knew of them. Gorvat taught Ingvar how to draw upon his tortured soul, and he now wields great power, possibly even to the like of yours, of your greatness. Power he has used to draw creatures from the dark plane, and he has bound them to the Zakanik. These he has called Ilak, and he has forced dominion over them. Of the 13 Zakanik present, 5 perished as their bodies have been corrupted by this power. They burst Ulmakor. Of the 8 remaining, he has named one chief above the others. The Zakanik that was once Krulk of the Thuringian, he calls Al-Balzul. Others he has named and given them purpose. Of Buso, he was already Elak. He is named Gan Batar, trusted lieutenant. Furthermore, he has renamed himself. In the image of his new master, he calls himself Ivrig-syn, You know that in the dark tongue that means great eye. It's 2 words. Ivrig-syn, S-Y-N, Ivrig-syn, the great eye. He seems to lapse in on himself. His eyes, his look on it. You've been in the room, you could hear most of this. You
What-
weren't hearing it all.
What I didn't pick up was, what's Busu's new name now? Gaz
Gan betrayal.
and
So named by Ingvar.
by the Great Eye by Ivrig-syn. Zun.
Ivrig-syn, the great eye.
Ivrig-syn.
So Ingvar's renamed himself Ivrig-syn, and he named Buso Gan betrayal, trusted lieutenant.
And Al-Bazul is the new head Zakonik.
Yes. He commands the 8 Elak. No, the remaining, whatever's left of the Zakonik. Of the Vakhtari that would not follow the changer. Few survived the slaughter brought down upon them by their former brothers. Those that did survived the initial onslaught vanished into the great forest. When I was able, what power was left to me, I found those that I could. We were much greater in number than you see now.
What about the other Semnothai? The many lower levels, not the Zakoniks, not the Soviet.
Uso led the Vakhtari host upon them,
On the Semnothai.
on everyone.
So the Semnothai are no more.
What they were is gone.
The ones that were still actual Semnothai rather than subject to the Great Change, they are no more.
All fell before Buso, before the Elak. And the Vakhtari that they now command.
And are the Elak wielding more power than they've ever had? Much like Buso, much like Ingvar or Ivrig-syn, as he now wants to be called.
Ivrig-syn, he pulled powers from the void. He bound them to the Zakonik, and in soon so named them Elak. They are part man and part denizen of the void. Out again, there's no word for demon yet.
Yeah.
They are possessed. They are of one purpose, and that is of Ivrig-syn. They fell upon everybody. Everyone died.
Before this happened, before this was did Ingvar, as he was, Ivrig-syn, did he say what his plans were for the tribes, now with bereft of their Zakniks? Are the Ilak to go back to the tribes? Do you know anything more other than the slaughter?
I was summoned at the same time as the Zakonik came back. As the Zakonik arrived, I did not know that he had already sent word for them to arrive. This is a plan that he's obviously had long in the coming.
And the other Soviet? What happened to the other Soviet?
Hakon and Thidric. There is, like in this realm, in the void, there is spirits there that are of greater power.
Mm-hmm.
They were named Aklios and Alsbeth, the great serpents, the shade-bound. They fed on Halfgrim's flesh, while Ivrig pulled his screaming soul into the Andameld. That is not all. The day before the ritual, one of the Alfar approached Fornam Ur with a message from the Athalloran to the west beyond the Grey Mountains. This Alfar of royal blood called itself Prince Deer and came with a message of peace. Ingvar, as he was then, took an audience with it in the presence of the Soviet, and so I heard its words. Ever fail the Alpha, but I heard truth in it. It spoke of a tribe to the west making war on its people, encroaching on their homeland forest. Having knowledge of the Sementhai, their king sought Ingvar as an ally. In return for peace, this prince offers knowledge of our lost power. Ingvar feigned interest to the last before having it seized, calling it weak and its people fit for slaughter and death. That night he had it flayed, to gain knowledge of its people and their ways. I thought it dead, and my thoughts troubled with what it had said and what had then occurred. After the Uadungare, he brought the creature's broken form forth, and he drew a most low and fell creature from the void to inhabit the prince's broken form, and calling it Urungad, and he gave it command of the Vaktaria that remained. It is this Urungad that now commands the Vaktaria, answering only that Gan Batar. He looks past you at, you see him all, look past you. You'd been aware that he paused in the room after doing his rounds. And you, his eyes are focused specifically on you as you stand in the doorway quietly listening. And you, Ulmakor friend, Ganbatar has only one wish, and that is to feast upon you. This is how they talk now. To feed upon your body and soul. Ivrig has granted him this wish. None shall touch you. None. But Ganbatar, you should flee. There's no standing before this host, these creatures. You value your soul as all mortal men should. Take heed and flee this place. For only sorrow and death will you find here. He shudders, lets out a sob.
We are not mere mortals. God has a plan.
Which god? The false gods that you've been taught to listen to? Or the true northern gods?
No,
The four brothers?
one only God that we have seen with our own eyes.
Who do you speak?
Tal.
It is a falsehood. Tal does not exist. It was all lies, fed to us like children who lapped it up. The true power, the true gods are far to the north, and they are angry and they are hungry.
Do you want to return to them?
Do I want to return to the far northern gods? I saw what they did to your brothers.
And it is why we will do what needs to be done.
By following false gods?
By
They are
fol-
dreams for children. Do not put power in them. They have forsaken you if they've ever existed.
The way I see it, Ubin, is that the Semnathai order, anything that you stand for, it does not matter any longer. It all means nothing. Yes, I've seen Semnathai, I've seen Zaknik. I'm aware. My eyes have seen it, and I understand. A lot of it is false. But what I see, and I speak only the truth. If you believe in my master Ulmakor being the son of Tal, let me tell you, it is true, as I have seen Tal with my own eyes. You can believe it.
I believe that your master believes it. That does not mean it's true. And the fact that you believe it I can make you see anything I wish. It is a power.
You cannot make me see anything because you have no power over me. You are nobody. You are nothing. You are insignificant.
So true. Your servant speaks such truth. He starts sobbing.
It's so true. It's so true.
Destroyed him.
Oh
Peace.
shit!
Peace.
Compared to the power I have seen, we are nothing.
Peace, Caradak. Caradak speaks the truth. Tal has been physically to see us. Tal and one of his brothers also paid a visit. Caradak,
Perhaps we should show him.
why don't you show him
Yes.
the power of the real true Northern gods, not these upstarts?
Of course. This is what the gods have planned for us, and they have a plan. So I'll take out the axe and form into Grombrindal.
They would turn us into Dowie?
What?
This is their plan, they have. How does this benefit us?
This is all the wrong kind
You would have us hide in the
movie
mountain?
reaction that you don't get in movies.
You would have us hide in the mountain? Illusions?
This is what happens. You turn us into dwarves?
I don't want to be a dwarf.
I don't want to be a dwarf. That sounds horrible. You're missing the point.
I think what Caradak seeks to show you with evidence of your own eyes is that the powers of the real true Northern gods are true and are here. This was gifted to us by a close confidant of Caradak's,
Of course.
one of the gods. Can't remember his name.
Ronald.
Renald. Yeah, because I was thinking it's Renald. Renald came and gave that gift, not to me, but to Caradak.
So if he gets captured, they now know he can turn into a dwarf.
Move the dwarf away from his axe. There's a habit of hitting things he doesn't understand. I understand this. Right.
Well, you're kind of just been possessed.
Possessed. Well, that seems a
They
fitting.
worshipped false things in the void, and they now seem to be getting taken over by those in the void.
They are not false, Dowie. I have seen them manifest.
And we agree with you. We don't believe they are false. We believe entirely what you say is true.
The-
Yes, we have seen it.
Then perhaps if the old gods are still here, and they are reaching out, they are talking to you, there might be a fool's hope.
This
But if
is,
they don't manifest their champions amongst us like these creatures this raven god has done, how can we hope to stand against them?
they already have.
There's a reason why we're in this godforsaken, shattered hold in the middle of nowhere. Not because we like to take in the cold air. It's shattered. Calm down.
That's what you said before that, though.
Godforsaken. It is. One of our gods live here.
Look at this shithole!
Only a dwarf will live here!
Full of filth and, and
They leave lots of dead goblins in the porch!
full of filth and goblins.
So we walk out and go, wasn't there a statue here?
That statue's doing it Billy Big steps. It's proper Mission Impossible down the valley. After it, there's like smoke coming
Is
off
that Tom Cruise?
it. But he's short.
Turn and give me a smile.
Rock-like.
Turns and gives us a big smile. Oh, full Tom Cruise. We have a purpose. We have a mission. It was given to us by Tal. This is why we're here. This is why why I've been moving away from the influence of Ingvar or Ivrig-syn as he now wants to be called or has become manifest as. We have a plan. We have a mission. I think the old ways of the Semnathai and the Vaktari, Zakaniks, the system's gone now. It's gone. Not forgotten by some of us, but gone. And we need to forge a new road and a new destiny for the human tribes. Because I've refused to bow down to the foul spawn of the north. I refuse to give in to Buso or Ganbitar or whatever he wants to call himself. I refuse.
You've just seen what I'd seen on the Fornam Ur is now a desolate place full of death and despair.
We fought them.
None are living there. I did what I could. I lost. And again, you're aware of the wording he's using. I lost many Vakhtari to see what we could do. We tried to engage. He takes the Elak, and they've headed to the north. He has forsaken the Fornam Ur now. He is leaving the basin. He is to join with the forces of the north and to bring death upon us. He will march on all of the tribes that are now disparate, all the tribes that are separate. It's only a matter of time.
Then
Whether it take a year or 10 makes no difference.
the only chance that we have is to bring the tribes of men together as a unified force under our direction or with our guidance, as was our role many, many years ago when we brought the tribes of men out of the south. Much through a place like this, in fact. It is our role to guide them. Look,
Froze up a little bit. I'm just remembering something.
And bring them together into a unified force under one common leader, perhaps. Perhaps King Bjorn, so hated by Ingvar for his ability to unite tribes and forge tribal allegiances. Maybe King Bjorn is someone we could utilise with our guidance to form a united human front against the north. With Tal on our side, we will prevail. Because if not, what is the option? To lie down? To be taken over? Crawl into a hole and wait to be dug out?
To flee
To flee where?
to the darkest recesses of this world.
Until what? Till they hunt us down? That's certainly not the Semnathai
The
way.
place is so desolate that they do not care to go.
You wish to reside in a place like this?
Why did you seek us out?
To give warning
That is it?
to Ulmakor, not you. I thought you were dead. I thought you were Slayer.
I am a slayer. Not that kind of slayer.
I'm a slayer.
I am a Slayer. Not as good as you.
Alright, Hulk. See if we're going to get this Hulk Thor thing going on here.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not a slayer of you. I'm a lady slayer. Stops moonwalking backwards. Woo!
You haven't just been fleeing, though, have you? You've been looking for some glimmer of hope, and you found it. You knew by, not me, but finding. What's your name again? Lying!
Ulmakor.
Ulmakor!
What? Really gone
By
out.
finding Ulmakor here, it gives you that glimmer of hope. That somewhere deep down you believe the old tales, that this man is the son of Tal. And with the son of Tal on our side, we always have hope. I will follow this man to death.
You've been brainwashed to do so.
I'm going to look outside the big
I'm not-
opening.
What are you doing?
Looking outside the big opening. 'cause
Excuse me, chaps.
if
Death!
you can scry him, you can scry him.
He doesn't explain why he's doing it, otherwise you could assuade his feelings.
Yeah, that's all
So
right.
you go to the front door, you see one of these Vakhtari, exhausted, standing, crouching in the door, cloak around him, trying to stare out the wind, staring out into the snow blizzard.
What nice weather we having!
It's a bit brisk.
One leg like that.
Yeah.
If it wasn't so cold, I'd really be impressive. Woof!
What a nice mild air. I'm just going to go and bathe in the moonlight.
Just giving an eye out.
Just one eye. That's not one eye I don't look at.
Look at the bloody kisses. It's winking at me.
Oh,
He's like this. Hello? Are you sad? That's so wrong. Sick.
Wish I was eaten by the darkness.
Is this your home?
No.
So where is this? And why was it built here?
It's a watchtower.
What does it watch? There's nothing but desolation out here. What is this place?
Second. shit, I've just... Just a second. Damn, I've written pen. It's all got wet.
Yeah.
How to make friends.
Hit with axe.
There we go.
Communicate with...
What is this place? What do they call it? What's it watching? Shink! We got ambushed, but I took care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, all they died.
Yeah. One died,
If
but
he fails to acknowledge your friendship, kill him.
at no point get your cock out.
Oh, don't.
Yeah. Oh, don't.
Oh, that led smudged. Oops.
What are you looking for? The name of the pass?
Yeah,
Or
I
the name-
found it now. Since you.
Since we mocked you.
Are you not going to take everything he does, literally? So he just said, he goes, hey,
He's getting a massive huff.
hey.
He'll stop talking even more.
Midhgal Vongalbarak.
That's the name of the hold. Right, so not the pass.
Oh, you said what's the name of this place?
You see
He's
what's
talking
looking
about
at-
Midhgal?
He's looking out.
That is.
That's the name of the hold. The watchtower, which
No.
over
Just a second.
over.
I'm looking for that.
I just told you.
He wasn't listening.
There's a strange
Yes,
whisper.
that's the bit
It's
you're
almost as if Tal is
No, I thought we had it in door.
a stag.
Blackfire Pass.
It's the dwarfs that named it. That's what it actually. That's what it sounds like. I won't bother saying. Why is it called that? Because you might just literally explode.
I don't with the stone dwarf.
The stone dwarf. um, yeah. So where is this place? Midhgal Vongalbarak, Barak, and this is Blackfire Pass. What is it? What's it here for? It guards the pass, the Blackfire Pass. Guards against what? Because it will not be man that you see fighting here.
Orcs.
Fight them any day. I fought my brothers.
Yeah. Orcs. Fuck them.
I'll fight them any day.
Bring them on.
I
do
just
it.
go- I just see that vision. I guess. Oh, yeah.
I'll have one arm tied behind my back, and I'll still do it.
Yeah,
You'll never see man fighting here. Meanwhile,
How apropos. Or shall we? Wink.
yeah. So meanwhile,
So we have.
the conversation's been going on for.
So that's why you're here. You came for hope.
No,
You have it.
I was sent.
Sent.
That was my original. I was meant to be. I was meant to be coming here
To find.
at the end of the ritual.
To kill us.
Yes,
That changed.
yes,
Now you see the truth.
no,
You're very confused.
no. Only you. When the creatures of the void were brought forward and sent into and bonded with the Zovid and the Zakanek, they give in to their baser needs. You see a glory in the slaughter that they performed. At the end of the ritual on the following day, I was still there. I was there when Ivrig took the Elak and the Shadebound north. He gave me one task: to hunt down Ulmakor and to bring him back before him. When I was able to find the surviving, or some of the surviving Vaktori, I've since kept a shield over me so that they never knew it was me that commanded them. But even so, the Vaktori, the ones that follow the Elak and Ivrig, the slaughter has been immense. But finally I've come to this place. As my strength failed, I saw your master. And I have only one wish, was to give him warning. I will now head west. Thane and his people, these Vaktari, have sworn their oaths to me, and they will travel with me. We shall head west to the Alfar.
To
I feel I must bring word of Prince Diaz's death, and where his soul is. And if their king wishes me to pay for it, and the Thane and his men, we are all willing to do that. But if he doesn't demand our sacrifice, our lives in payment, I hope that he will listen to reason, and I would learn the lost ways.
if you should survive the encounter with the Alvar, and my hope is that you will, convey to the leaders of the Alvar, their king, their leader, their chieftain, that myself stand ready to help, to receive any help that they wish to battle these foul northern untrue gods, these diseased things that have taken over the seventh eye. And if they wish to join with us in a fight with the rest of mankind, we will be more than happy to have them along. And tell them our gods are still true and still reside. Tal resides and talks and visits myself.
I shall, Ulmakor. As the night draws a natural night, the guards are changed. I take it you find one of the
Yeah.
watch cap there, the tower captain's room.
Somewhere a bit comfy and befitting my stations.
You take to sitting at the front, eyes gleaming like gems into the snow. I'm assuming you're going to take a watch, in the sense of in the centre, not necessarily a lowly guard position at the doors, but in a position.
By the fire.
In the early hours of the morning, as you're sitting there, these are fed and watered, everyone's rested, Thorvard seeks you out, but not for anything beyond just a sense of camaraderie. He's forever like the Thanes are, they are kind of ostracised anyway, and he sees in you a similar rank, and you sit as the hours wind by in a comfortable silence. You keep the fire bank lit up. Eventually, you can see that the haunted Thane can't sleep, and you feel that sort of relax. The feeling of being amongst warriors, amongst the Vaktari again. And he does talk a bit about the fight, the running battles through the great forest, to the beastkin that came to the slaughter, the dark creatures that they've fought on the way. And on one side, though you never give up your position by Ulmakor, you can't help but feel like you should have been there. He has no word of your talent, whether they were part of the Vaktari rebel, as it were, the dark Vaktari now, as it were, or part of the survivors who related. He knows nothing of them. He doesn't know what path they chose. You go to sleep, deep in thought, as the sun starts to come up. You expect us to get an hour, and we'll call it a night.
He's read it,
Do I read this next time?
I wouldn't.
I'll read it now.
and it just says, "You smell of poo." What?
Holy shit.
Don't get a snap a picture.
Well, excellent, excellent.
So I don't know if you want to take your notes, or you want us to type something up and send it as an email so you can have a look at it before next Thursday. Apologise it went over a bit,
Yeah.
but really needed to get that done.
Yeah.
That can't continue on beyond the 2 hour thing, but beyond that we'll hopefully start sticking to the 2 hour side of things. But yeah, I think it's one of those things that we've only had one session since December. We've still got a lot of mockery and all that sort of stuff. We've got to stay within the game again, including myself. You know, we've got to get some stuff done, but while still enjoying it.
Oh no, I don't think that's detracted from it. I think it was good fun.
Yeah.
I think it's good, definitely good fun.
There isn't honestly that many lines.
I know. Going on forever.
He keeps going, Tom Cruise, Tom Cruise.
No, no.
Really?
No, I was taking it in.
What words?
Yeah.
Take a photo.
Well, there we go. So that's it. Episode 16.
Oh,
It's in the bag.
Wow.
That was 15.
Hey, you'll have to wait till next week.
Yeah, it was
guys,
15, yeah.
To find out what's inside this note.
Or will they?
Or will they?
Oh, well, yeah, I might.
Or did you accidentally just show it the camera and everyone's just zooming in on it? No. Ah!
Oh.
Oh my God!
I don't think it makes sense to anybody, to be honest, because it doesn't make sense to me.
Then we will have to talk it through before. When everyone's gone, you'll have to be the last one.
But meanwhile,
So, you
That
talk
makes
about-
sense, but I need to ask a question.
Yeah, no worries. Right, well, thanks very much, everybody, for persevering. I
Thank you
hope
very
there was,
thank you.
there was a hell of a lot of canon. There's a lot of lore in there.
Yeah.
Name changes.
Name changes, yeah.
That's
You know?
which is going to be irritating because it's taken me 15 episodes to remember everyone's names, and now I'm going to have to rename them. Oh, what's he called again? Oh, I've forgotten his name.
Alpha.
But yeah, so you've got the stone.
Yeah.
And it turns out that the fall of the Seventh Eye hold on the tribes of man was a lot easier than you thought.
Apparently, not much of a fight was given at all.
Yeah. Now, bear in mind that you were told get the stone, get it to the High King, and then start undermining the Seventh Eye. And it goes that even the old gods, the ancient gods, the true, Tel, didn't see this coming.
No, well, we don't have to undermine them. They've pretty much been undermined to the fact that they're in a burning heap in a pit.
Yes.
Couldn't get any more undermined.
The Seventh Eye.
That makes it easy.
No more.
Makes it so much easier. Thanks, Tal.
The Zakanic gone.
Just time.
Yeah.
Now reformed as Elak.
There's something worse.
The two remaining Soviet are now called the Shadebound, the Great Serpents.
Sounds friendly.
Yeah. Buso is, is Sin's trusted lieutenant, and you have something even darker ruling the remaining Victoria. Now,
Based on
specifically-
on an Alpha Prince's corpse.
Yeah.
Nice. High King's going to be happy with that one.
Yeah. The burnt prince.
How did you think of your son? Well, when you say so, every Alpha King with a son, take one step forward. Not you. Not you.
Vengeance hasn't come back yet.
Oh, you might have been a little bit presumptuous there, King. What?
This is for my son. Oh, I'll have that. No, that's the holy. Well, we won't need that
You
now.
don't need this.
It's got no lips. What?
Yeah, the one thing is, remember that they said that the Elak and the Shadeborn, Shade-touched, Shade-bound, have headed north, which means the Victoria are still they're still here. The Victoria have not headed north. So this dark entity in the Victoria are still very much here. So bear that in mind. Remember that in case you missed it. Only specifically as they were named.
The head people have
only
headed
3
north.
went
Yeah,
off with.
but the rest of the Victoria is still there. So we've got a crack troop of elite bad things still in the forest, still close to all the tribes.
Yes.
Yeah, only none of them are allowed to touch him. Part 1.
Yes.
Well, him, yeah, but kill everyone else. Just leave him.
Yeah. So you've got Gan Batar, the trusted lieutenant. He's obviously still, he's apparently still here, overseeing it, the situation, and you've got 8. So the Elak, the 8 Elak, and the 2 Shade-bound
They've
have
gone
headed north.
But
But the Victoria now being led by
Uso.
sort of. So even though Gan Batar is still here, you've got the Victoria actually under the direct control of the burnt Prince Dia's corpse. It was being named Urengad. So the Urengad is controlling the Victoria directly on
Leaving
Gan
Buso, allowing him
Gan
to.
Batar to hunt him
Yeah,
effectively.
choice. Okay.
Right, thanks very much, everybody. Good night. Thanks very much for showing up. Hope you enjoyed it.
you
I hope
very
that was
much.
great.
Yeah.
And
Thank you for sticking by.
Caradak did it again.
Caradak always does it.
Game at the party.
Caradak.
didn't even leave the proper chamber here. Good night, everybody, and see you tomorrow for a chat, and next Thursday for episode 16.
See ya.
See ya.